Hello, everybody. Brother.
It's been a while.
Me, yeah. We're back. Coffee with Curmudgeons. I'm Doc Normal. I am so sorry. We were about to go live, and my computer froze up. The computer plays the intro. We were literally ready to go live, and we can talk about that later in our tech segment. We always have a tech segment, right? Right?
Of course.
Of course we do. Over here is Jason, Bill Cannon, or whatever his first name is, Mannix.
Listen, you sit there as I explain to you the
Alan.
rules of murder.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my old 74. I've been into this whole late night. And of course, you turned me on to this. The Me TV, the old late night, old cannons, Peter Gunn's, 77 Sunset Strip.
You mean assisted living home television?
Well, okay, we'll go.
It's free. Sonny, I don't have to pay a dime for it.
I did notice that. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, wow, these are really cool shows. I haven't seen these in decades. And then every commercial's like, have you ever thought about Golden Shores assisted living community? And I'm like, oh,
the one I like. Just see, we're just jumping in. Yeah. The one I like is a bus that picks you up from the assisted living community, so you can go out to the beach or to the arts and crafts someplace and do arts and crafts.
Right. You will no longer be limited. Let us take you wherever you want to go. Flea market.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Oh, okay. All right.
The bus comes and picks you up.
It was kind of like a weird and then sad experience because I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, God, I'm their demographic.
Yeah.
I'm their A1 demographic now. Oh, God.
See, I'm kind of like a James T. Kirk as played by Bill Shatner in the original series kind of a guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to die with my phasers and killing those Klingons. Don't put me in a Starfleet home. No. Not this guy.
Chuck Connor's on the right. I'm going to die with my boots on.
Yep.
But yeah, I started watching these shows and I went totally, I just didn't go in and wade in the shallow. I jumped into the deep end right off. And so, of course, I had to DVR everything. And so I found that the last 48 hours, I'm stuck in literally 1969 to 1974. And I'm comfortable there.
Let me see if this works. Is this, which one? Oh.
It's an air.
Hang on. Let me see. I don't know if this would be the right. This is probably not the right effect, but...
Okay.
77 Sunset Strip.
Yes! I love it.
Okay, so... Oh, brother.
Because back in those days, they had cooler vocabulary than we do now. You got to use, in everyday lingo, you got to use really cool words like, number one, bubkiss. Where in the heck do you ever run into bubkiss?
That's one of my favorite words.
Don't you tell me any. I'm tired of this whole bubkiss.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
And then there's other words that I love too, which was used last night in last night's Mannix. I'm tired of this whole. I'm tired of this whole folderol. Folderol. That's awesome. And then my favorite though is, all right, we're gonna cut out this tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery.
When in 2018 does anyone use tomfoolery?
As opposed to Joe foolery.
Right.
Steve foolery.
Yeah, we don't want to single anyone out per se.
Brett foolery.
Right, Brett foolery.
Hey, that's a nice jacket you got on there.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
I had this in the old closet, in the old wardrobe bag. This was used to be in my old life.
It's a nice jacket.
Yeah, it's a nice, little herringbone sort of tweed jacket-ish. Makes me look slightly officious and pompous. But I dig it, so I put it on, and I got the fedora out. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna go full on 70s mode, And then the only thing I was driving over, and I'm thinking to myself, God, man, I should have got a cigar. Because either they have pipes or cigars, right? This is in the 70s, so everyone's smoking. Even back in the 70s, folks, if you weren't born during that time, you're born after that time, let me tell you firsthand experience, even the pets smoked.
Or if you're unborn.
You're unborn. Listen, I was in the womb smoking a pack and a half a day, okay?
No, I was too. Actually, that is true.
Right.
That is true.
Yeah, so No wonder.
A few martinis to wash down.
No wonder we came out of the womb curmudgeons. We were programmed like this.
But, spray some more. What is that? Glyphosate or whatever that is, round up on my food. And
right here, put more of that DDT on your salad.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That's a nice. But that's a nice jacket you have on there.
Yeah. I wanted to go old school. I wanted to pull out the fedora, and and then I just suddenly the interns pop up and they hand this in my hand.
Oh yeah.
Like sitting there, like, listen here, punk. You're gonna tell me who robbed the liquor store. It's like that, because if you just put your finger, ain't no crook gonna take you seriously.
Do you need help with that?
Oh, do you really want me to go live?
No, you don't have to. But
hold on here. Let me do
it.
You
can't even. Here, okay. I don't know.
How do I squeeze the trigger on that gun?
You have to. It's actually got a. Okay, it's actually got a safety on it.
Oh.
You see and that was the last Coffee with Curmudgeons show.
Right.
After the.
Right. Oh, hey.
What's funny, by the way, just so you know that we're not.
Yeah.
Total jackasses here.
Hey, we come prepared.
This is right next to my desk in case of.
Well, you were an Eagle Scout. You're good to go on this stuff.
We do pump this studio full of pure oxygen.
Well, got it.
That's probably a poor choice of reference.
When I'm let out of the iron lung on Friday.
Seriously? I don't know. Let's see.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Oh my God. I love it. We're smoking. That's real good. Real good. I don't even know. It's probably dried out.
Listen, kid.
There was an ashtray around here. Oh, well, here's one.
This is like
the cigar ashtray, but here.
Now you see. Oh, now I'm going full hardcore vintage. I'm starting.
What have I done?
Listen, kid.
What have I done? What have I done?
Why do you think they call it dope?
Yeah. What have I done?
Well,
This is bad. Now it's like I should have just brought a martini and all that.
Maybe a smoking jacket and a fez.
That's a nice jacket, Jason.
Yeah, it's going out.
That you're wearing there.
We'll let it go out.
Yeah, that you're wearing there.
Yes, it is.
Nice
very
jacket.
Nice. Comfy and.
It is comfy.
All right.
I didn't realize that we would both be wearing our gold tweeds today.
I know, we arrived at the party wearing the same thing. And the funny thing is, we noticed it when we were going for the finger foods at the same time too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at your jacket.
Wow.
That's a nice jacket. What?
Oh.
Exactly. But now it smells like my grandpa in here.
Right. Yeah.
I actually have the. You walked in and I was like, I have a jacket just like that.
I love this jacket. Doing?
Yeah. I was not gonna. I got this. Well, I was saying earlier, there was a hipster DJ party.
Yeah. I don't remember where I got mine. Where's the take? Oh, here it is. Let's take a look. Something Italian.
Oh, nice.
I don't know.
If it's in Italian, it's
Italian.
Good.
I don't know.
Pronto appuntamento, pronto something.
Yeah.
Pronto Jason. Pronto. Hey.
Hey, oh, hey.
Pronto with the head, okay?
That's right.
Pronto with the geld, the money.
That's right. I'll start learning new words like vig.
Yeah.
Have you paid the vig?
Pronto at the poker game with the money. Yeah.
I'll meet you down at the docks, say 4 a.m.
I figure if it has anything Italian on it, it's good.
It's gotta be
Italian too.
Right. That's why I thought the height of cuisine was Chef Boyardee.
Yes.
I'm kidding. Franco-American.
It's Chef Boyardee. But I too used to wear jackets and stuff.
Yes.
Thank God I don't so much anymore.
Right.
Anyway, I should take this off. But now, should I take this off or just leave this on?
I'm going the whole time with this on. I'm feeling rather roguish today with the.
I know.
So I'm going.
I feel like we should have like we need some special guests. I feel very Jimmy Kimmel here or whatever.
Sure.
Seth Meyers or Jimmy Fallon
I'm feeling Jack Carr.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I know. I feel like all talk show hosty.
Right.
Now.
If we had guests, we could sit there and go.
But definitely more.
Yeah.
Because I'm not wearing. Because they do. I think they like Kimmel wears like a tie and a shirt.
Oh yeah.
Like kind of the classic. I'm feeling more kind of like Dick Cavett 70s. Like all I really need. I should have a
Dick Cavett.
A turtleneck, a black turtleneck.
Turtleneck would be good. Maybe a cravat.
Which is what I did get with this jacket.
Turtleneck.
But I didn't know didn't know we were doing this. But But anyway.
Listen, it's a good thing you didn't wear the turtleneck, because if you would have came on with the turtleneck and the jacket, you would have broke the internet.
I know.
People were like, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
Well, I got this jacket, so truth be told,
yes,
and it's a nice jacket.
Yeah,
so I found out a secret after spending way too much money on clothes in the 80s. Like we all did. That you just, people go to like Goodwill or the there's secondhand stores and stuff, and you get good jackets. Like, I got this suit from a friend of mine who's like, oh, this doesn't fit anymore. You should have this shirt. You know what it is? Opened up there, Armani.
There you go.
Armani.
Yeah.
Pinstripe Armani suit. I was like, okay, well, I'll wear this.
So much so now that, in fact, you have Goodwill and you have like other like thrift or secondhand stores. But most of this stuff now, you walk into any vintage store, and this is all vintage.
Well, that's what the kids like.
People are paying top dollar for this, right?
See, that's what the kids are doing.
Yeah,
they're going out and going to these places and getting these jackets. And you can wear this like twice or something or whatever. Or if you're a hipster, maybe then becomes part of your wardrobe.
Go-to thing, right? Yeah.
And so I was going to a DJ party a few years back.
Yeah.
It was a real hipster thing. And it was like that's what it was. It was like go-go DJ party. They have them all, or they used to. Maybe Portland's too douchey to do that anymore. But they used to have those things.
Yeah.
And I think this was at the Eagles club over there on Mount Tabor. Right? Again, big, old school, yet hipster establishment.
Yes.
Like, which I heard. I don't know if this is, but I've heard that it was going to be closed down and ripped apart. And
I've heard that too. Yeah, I don't know.
Crappy condos put up and did I mention douchey? But anyway, lose all the flavor of why all those young people moved to Portland in the first place.
Yeah,
to be hip and cool and secondhand and kind of.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went. So I was like, well, I got to dress up, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going with a lady and she's wearing like go-go boots and a skirt. I'm like, well, I can't just wear my jeans and my t-shirt.
If someone is wearing go-go boots, you got to bring your A game at that point because
going dancing, seeing this guy when you DJ, right?
Yeah.
So hipster young people, it's like, okay, so I got some pants, I got some shoes, but I don't know, a shirt, a jacket. So I go to the Goodwill. I obtain this jacket. And a turtleneck, black turtleneck, right?
Yeah.
To make it look like as, kind of that 1969, 70, 71, kind of that thing. Like, I think Nixon will do well in his second term. I really do.
Right.
Once he gets past this gas crisis.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Watching old videos of Joseph Campbell or Carl Sagan, with the turtlenecks on, talking about...
Interesting enough, saw Sagan on the Dinah Shore show the other day. It was that kind of a vibe, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I obtained this jacket. And I have since worn it a few other times.
Excellent.
And like you and I guess they're a little bit different. I swear they were pretty close.
Pretty close.
I may have still had that jacket too.
Yeah.
Because I'm a tweed man.
Yes.
I like I like other jackets too, but I do like my tweed. Mm-hmm. Gray tweed. I've had gray, even when I was in school.
Yeah, suits. I usually like regular, either pinstripe or regular solid fabric and colors.
Yeah.
But if you're going for like the sport jacket and
tweed,
or multiple selection ensemble, you gotta go with the herringbone tweed. I mean that is the gentleman's go-to.
Well, we're talking about to me the tweed.
Yeah.
Represents the. You have they're pretty hip too.
It can be.
But excuse me.
Exactly.
Cigar.
Excuse me, cigar.
Cigar smoke.
And this was the moment that Doc rethought handing Jason the cigar.
Mm-hmm. I did. That's a good one though. They're not. There's no Swisher Sweets.
No.
It might be a little bit dried out, but it came from the humidor. I used to be a cigar aficionado.
Yeah, me too.
Which results in me having some old cigars still in the humidor.
Yeah, like the old torpedo style I used to get Macanudo.
Yeah.
And then, but my favorite cigar of all time is Dunhill.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's mild. I'm not the real harsh, abrasive, like Winston Churchill sort of stub cigar type of guy. I kind of like the smooth.
Yeah. Well, I've got cigar stories.
Oh, yeah.
I remember my first Cuban.
Oh, yeah.
Quite literally.
Cohiba.
It was pretty much... I was flying... I was like, wow, these are powerful, aren't they? What do they put in these things? Is that just tobacco? I mean, it was really like that kind of...
Yeah, I mean, there's still today, I mean, even with all the crossbreeding of tobacco plants and stuff, and I know this is going deep into the weeds of tobacco country, but still, Cuban cigars have their own distinct, I mean, very distinct flavor.
Very powerful.
Versus the ones you see, because of the embargo, Dominican Republic and... some South American,
I was not in America. I was in another country. Which is how.
Yeah.
Because that was when
the embargo and stuff.
I think you can actually get them here now.
You could. You
after
did
the Obama Cuban.
Yep, but literally a week after our president is in office, they closed the embargo back up. They tightened it. You can still somewhat travel. But as far as goods and or
they can't bring it from Cuba.
No, that's Canada closest. Or Mexico.
That's like
and
everyone in every state is smoking Cuban cigars and weed, and then you got Jeff Sessions going no.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever, dude. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he's the cranky uncle at Thanksgiving who just doesn't get over like some new things like Jell-O isn't allowed. It's got to be old school.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Those aren't my sheets. Stay out of the closet.
Right, yeah. Oh,
Uncle, why do these sheets have eye holes in them?
Yeah, that brings up like a Jeff Foxworthy moment, It's like, you might be a redneck if your bedding also doubles as your wardrobe.
Yeah. Not cool, man.
No.
Not a good look. No. We're talking about the current administration.
Yeah.
But, so where was I? There's so much to do. So, so I went to the hipster thing and I wore the turtleneck and stuff. I don't really
How did
like
that work
turtleneck.
Out?
Oh, it worked out great.
Did people like, oh my gosh, this is, of course.
I mean, it's, there's just, there is this subculture, or has been, until now, we're bulldozing it and destroying it.
Sure.
I mean,
single-handedly, that's what we do.
Yeah, to put the hipsters in detainment camps,
Coming next week.
Yeah. There is this subculture of vintage and all that stuff in Portland. Very strong subculture.
Yes.
Some of it is, which I love, is like the tiki.
The Hawaiian, vintage Hawaiian. Oh, yeah.
Tiki bar subculture. In fact, shout out to our friends. throw a tiki
con, right?
every year, and they're at the Hilton this year. Hilton DoubleTree.
I dig it.
Big digs, this year.
I remember when they were out at Jansen Beach, Red Lion, I think. Out there.
Yeah. We went out there, did some filming in past years. It's great. It's a great event. We should actually.
We need to become a part.
I mean, it's coming up next year, but
yes,
but we should like at some point.
Yeah.
Do some interviews and have some folks on and stuff, and that whole tiki retro, what do they call it? Retro vintage, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I find, and this is weird, and I think people can identify if they're our age. Is to me that isn't so retro or vintage. That's more that is my comfort zone.
It's because there's, I think. Okay, here we go.
Here we go, folks.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's because I shouldn't be where I'll sit here by the mic with headphones on like Joe Rogan. Well, I think, you know what I think, Jason? I think Joe Rogan thinks.
Right.
No offense.
Third person, yeah.
I think it has to do with the lack of culture in the 21st century.
I think that has something to do with it. I mean, there is. Youth has always somewhat kind of made older things somewhat their own, and their own interpretation of their own times. But I think you're right. I think that for a large part, we have become sort of culturally, the youth unmoored. They look at some of the older stuff and they say
culturally barren.
Yeah. And
which is weird because we have more culture all over the place than we can stand. I mean, with the internet, and you can interact with other cultures and whatnot.
I agree. And the weird thing is, in bygone eras, the older generation will look at the younger generation and say, I don't recognize these people. I don't like this loud, you turn down that loud rock and roll music. Whereas I now am, securely in middle age. I look at the young millennials and I see something cool and hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that is totally cool,
I was just thinking, America fetishizes its cultures.
Yes.
So in other words, of all the quote melting pot and all that stuff of multiculturalism in America,
assimilation,
assimilation of cultures, of all the cultures, especially European. So much like we fetishize other cultures, like the let's do the chicken dance, right? Because it was Oktoberfest, right? Where the lederhosen,
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
The tiki retro, the tiki bar.
Yes.
That sort of con tiki, what do they call it? The cargo cult kind of thing, is kind of fetishizes the South Pacific and the islands of the South Pacific and all that. So that it's not really, I don't think it's not that culture. It's American culture.
It's Americanized South Pacific culture.
Not. It's almost really divorced.
It is.
From that culture. I mean, maybe they would bring in like artifacts and, get the bars and, decorate the bars with the tiki gods and that sort of thing.
For street cred.
Yeah. But basically that is that whole tiki culture I've always viewed as that's American culture. That's American station wagon, family vacation, motor hotel culture that's then dressed up in this whole, look, it's the South Pacific. It's
World War II and very right on the heels post World War II.
It was 1950s, 1960s,
right.
Really, that came about, especially on the coast, like the West Coast, California.
San Francisco,
all up down the coast. Maybe a little less in the Northwest, more as you head south into California, huge, and then even on the Florida coast and all that where it's warm.
Of course,
there are still a few existing, very few hotels that have the old facades. Most of them have been torn down, years and years. But I remember as a kid going down to California, and you go to a hotel or something, or a restaurant, and it was just full on Kon-Tiki, you know, palm trees and the whole design, and it was it was again, it was fetishized, but at the same time it had a culture and a significance. You know, the difference is what has replaced it now. Yeah, that I feel, and I see this in Portland all the time with current architecture, is you rip that down and you ultimately replace it with a box. Here's a box. There's a box, windows, and a box. And if you look at a lot of current Portland architecture, very current new buildings, you get a box. Yeah, here's a box.
Well, that's what you get for going to a cubist architecture firm. We're gonna do this, you know.
But I call it socialist architecture. I mean, we literally have a building
the Eastern
on the
Bloc
east side.
Sort of,
yeah. We literally have a building that's black and poop brown, and I've nicknamed it the KGB headquarters. I mean, all you got to do is look at this building,
Lubyanka.
Look at this building as you're driving down MLK there. Yeah. And you'll just be like, just put the satellite dishes on top, and it's like, a torture room or so. I'm sorry, content warning, I guess. Yeah, seriously, I mean, it looks like that. And it's like condos and whatnot. And then next to it is a building that on one facade has these tubes kind of popping out. Yeah. I call that the Horton Here's a Who building. And then just to add color, to spice up the block, there's the dumbbell. Now, that's not my term for it. That's actually what the building is called, the dumbbell. Yeah. And it's two white squares at an angle with a lot of weird painted stuff on it.
Yeah, do you think that they just tried too hard? They got the architecture firm, whoever designed it, one-upped each other. No, we could do this. No, I got something better. We can do this. And then it ends up in this sort of Jackson Pollock yakking on a canvas sort of almost abstraction.
If you had that, it might look better. But anyway, and these are the interesting buildings, because then when you go outside, you go up, a little bit east or whatever, and you see stuff that was ripped out, and then you look at some of the buildings that were replaced. They're just boxes with windows. Yeah. With white and brown box with windows. And I'm like, that's not appealing.
What shall it look like? I don't care. Just build it. Yeah. And then there's boxes.
Now, there are some good architectural projects that are happening in Portland. Okay. Some where they're reclaiming the building. One of which is coming online, which I have been in previously, did some video production in that. It's the Echo Trust building in Southeast Portland called The Red, which is an old World War II warehouse. They actually built steel and things for ships and whatnot. Yeah. And there's a giant metal press in there. It's like the largest metal press west of the Mississippi or whatever. Wow. They never removed it. They kept it in there as a museum piece. It will remain there for eternity. It's this giant, huge machine that you just look at,
Well, that's got style.
Yeah. And in a way, you're kind of like, an old industrial building. This is interesting, But it is actually, if you look at pictures and the maps of the 1920s, the 30s, the 40s, what was there in those blocks in Southeast, around, Morrison, Stark, 9th, 10th, that area, it was all these industrial buildings. People forget, Portland has a huge industrial past. We were a blue-collar town. We had a river. We had still have Swan Island. So this is what we did.
So much so that they created an industrial hub during World War II that's no longer around called Vanport.
That's right. That's right.
And anyone who wants to learn about that, there's a couple books on Vanport. And it's really interesting.
And a documentary, I believe. Yeah. And also that we need to put those on the list too. Yeah. Talk about Vanport. I think there's a documentary because Vanport also has a very the past history of Vanport is not only about shipbuilding and the war effort, it's also about the racial makeup of Portland.
Very much so.
So if you're talking about people emigrating to Portland, people of color, to work during the war effort,
that was where.
And then where do those people live?
Yeah.
And
really interesting.
So,
we need to get into that sometime.
Well, I know the people we can talk to.
Excellent.
We all know they're there. So that's stuff. But anyway, I think part of it is that lack of culture, and then part of it is then people run around and go, hey, wait a minute, let's save this industrial building. Let's do neat things with it. The Red Project is super cool. But there are other projects like that as well. Yeah. I mean, it's not all 100% bad, even though it feels like it's all 100%.
Well, I'm glad that they're finally learning that urban, the whole, to me, urban renewal, that is such an evil term.
Yeah, but it was a great Tower of Power album.
Yeah. On the other hand, it was, but I'm glad to see that they're now
Grease, baby.
Evolving to the point where even if they want to spruce up neighborhoods and stuff, they don't have to totally wipe out any of the character of that neighborhood.
Right.
And, if there are some parts, and like if you especially go off into north and northeast Portland, I mean, there are neighborhoods that don't look anything like they did 20, 25, 30 years ago. I think that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, so part of it too, and that's the other thing. Sometimes it is for the better, right? I mean, the interesting thing, the buildings I'm complaining about that are on the east side of the Burnside Bridge.
Yes.
The ones I'm complaining about. Yeah. Well, there was nothing there. There was just really bad, dilapidated warehouses, condemned property.
Right.
So it was cool to see that get developed.
Yeah. Especially on the north side of the Burnside Bridge.
Yeah.
Right, the Cooch area and in there.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
When you end up with the architecture. And I'm one of those old school Portlanders. Don't ask me about the Portland building.
Right.
Because I was excited about it at the time, and then I sort of went, "Oh, what the heck? Who puts the bathroom tile on the outside of the building? Huh? That belongs inside the bathtub."
Well, it looked good on paper.
Yeah.
And then bathroom tile. Right. That's exactly right. Who in the heck decides, well, this would look great on the outside?
Yeah. Because what happens with bathroom tile? How many people have bathroom tile in their bathrooms?
Yeah.
How many people clean the bathroom tile in their bathrooms? Yeah.
You know that the two guys from the architectural firm of Jenkins and Jenkins, right before they came out, they went in to use the bathroom, and then they came out and said, "I have an idea."
Actually, I believe, is it Michael? I know who the architect. The architect, name is Graves. I believe it was Michael Graves. Michael Graves, I believe, was the designer of the. Michael Graves. He passed away in 2015. I did not know that.
No.
The should be the Portland building. I believe Michael Graves was the Portland. There's a book on his stuff. I mean, it was revolutionary. It was like, he's going to come in and do that.
Shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's. Let me just check. Because. You know how oops. Yep, Portland building, the Humana Tower, Walt Disney World buildings, Team Disney. Oh, he did a bunch of Disney stuff. Oh. Imagine that, the Portland building and Disney architecture.
How do you go from Disney to tile?
Yeah.
I
know, and some people would disagree with me, but and people are like, maybe it's not good that you have an opinion about architecture. BS. It's public.
Right.
If it's public, you're the public. You get to have your opinion.
That's great.
Maybe your opinion is wrong. Maybe it isn't wrong. And public art changes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why is the lady stooping down? Why isn't she standing up on the building? She's stooping down. She's stooping on one leg.
Lady Port. I'd like to think that Lady Portlandia is pulling us all up. I don't know.
I'd rather she was just like standing there all like majestic with the what do they call that?
It's like that 3-fork, the
tri thing.
Yeah. Hold on, let me make that gesture again with the cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that trident.
Yeah, trident.
That's trident.
Named after a nuclear submarine. But anyway,
yeah, that's it.
You know what we look like? We look like two guest stars in a Mannix episode.
We do.
Who are trying to steal the plans from the Trident submarine.
Yeah.
For like Mother Russia or something,
Right.
Vasily, did you get the plans yet? Did you get the plans, huh?
My plan is this. When Mannix turns his head, I'm going to shove it in my coat.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a good plan. Good plan, Vasily.
What do you think?
I know.
Mannix, he'll fall for it.
The great thing about watching these old shows on the Poor Box, which, by the way, that's one of my favorite phrases. It's attributed to a good friend of mine.
Okay.
She calls it the Poor Box.
Poor Box,
which is basically the free TV that you get off of it. No cable, no nothing. Now it's all digital now. So you need a modern TV or you need a box. If you have an old TV, you need the box. I feel like we just got to get on. That's where this show belongs on MeTV. It's like, now for those of you who have an old television and you're just getting the static, you need to go to Walmart and get the box and plug. Have your nephew who works on computers, he can plug it in and set it up for you.
Right. If we did this show 30 years ago, we'd be on some UHF channel somewhere. Oh, yeah.
Well, the internet, YouTube is kind of like one big, giant global UHF channel, isn't it?
It is.
But it's all digital now, so the old TVs don't work. But, most modern flat panel, all these TVs have the digital tuners. They've been putting them in for like 10 years or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But there's tons of, like UHF, because it's digital and they just redid the frequencies again. There's tons of these free crappy channels.
Yeah.
Many of which, when you go up high, are all, where's the Bible again? Oh, it's not down here. Praise Jesus. Oh, those are always good.
Those are good, but I love the Me TVs and
there's Comet or something.
Comet?
There's like 3 or 4 in the Portland market, or 5 maybe.
Yeah.
Along with about 3 or 4 or 5. What I like, when you really go up high, you really scrape the bottom of the barrel. When you get into the Home Shopping Christian Network, it's like,
right, yeah.
You can buy a Bible for every member of your family.
Right. That's...
if you order right now...
Yeah, that's when I told the network that I had a problem with it, because they literally put us in between the Amish barn raising network and, the home shopping for pets.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was going to be some trouble with that.
We'd be perfect hosts for them.
We would.
Speak up, Jason. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Curmudgeons show.
Okay, go ahead and give me...
Can you hear us?
Go ahead and give me the introduction here.
Okay, and here we are, Jason Allen.
What I have here today is something called a cell phone.
Oh my gosh. You seen the one? Oh man, I had my parents bugging me about this for like a couple of years. There's a cell phone, and I think it's a company. I think they're here in Oregon or somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's a company that caters to cell phones for old people.
Yes, I've seen commercials for that.
Maybe you have had an elderly person in your family go, I want to know about this cell phone. It's like it's just a cell phone on a leased carrier.
They're getting ripped off. Every commercial I see, it's always a flip phone.
But that's like from 1997. But the AARP has,
endorsed.
If you're really going to do it, which I don't think they do. You need like the giant, a cell phone that looks like this with giant numbers on it, right?
Right, or the old suitcase cell phone. So you literally.
So I would like I used to get my grandma every year for Christmas the Reader's Digest large print edition.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because that's what you got for the old people. It wasn't because Reader's Digest was a digest. It was like this.
Right.
And then they realized that people over 60 were reading it. No one under.
Right.
And so they made the large print edition, you know.
Where each page is like one word.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and you flip.
Yeah. Yeah. So she would may she rest her soul. Like,
oh yeah, I still,
that's gonna be next. I'm gonna put a picture of my grandma. we're gonna redo the studio, man.
I do. I have a picture of my grandparents. I will bring them in next time. We'll set them in the corner.
We'll just like have like our whole like.
Yeah.
We're just gonna embrace it.
Yep. We're gonna grab it with both. You know, we're just gonna grab it, bear hug it, and jump in the deep end of it.
We're gonna end up like have guests like interview like you know, some 40-year-old dude or dudette, some guy or gal who's like 40 years old talking about their internet startup, and it's like, now how old are you, Sonny?
Right. Yeah. Well,
can you go to the bars yet? It's like, I'm 40 actually.
You look too young to shave.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Right.
Did your mom let you stay out past 8?
Yeah. Oh man!
And then
let's talk about
what...
JavaScript. Does your mom let you use language like that?
Java.
Yeah.
If Java means coffee to you, you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
As the Danish would say.
or if we're in Norway right now, it'd be oofta.
Yeah. Only people actually, if there's someone out there who's Danish or knows that.
Mm-hmm.
They got that joke.
That's the one person out there.
Anyway,
hey, these curmudgeons aren't bad.
Oh, we're horrible. We're the worst. I feel like this is a show for two people who are amused by.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're just like, this is actually. I think that really this show ended up becoming an extension of live video of you and I chatting back and forth online.
Yeah.
Pretty much just you and I like privately chatting and making jokes about the news and look at this funny picture and all that stuff. I think that's pretty much what this is, the show now in video form.
I think one of the endearing qualities of this show is the conversation, even the subjects we bring in are totally organic.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't sit for hours beforehand in some production meeting deciding, okay, at this minute we're going to... Oh, we do? Okay. That's what the interns say it happens. Okay, I'm sorry.
Big production team.
But
huge production team.
I mean, there's improv, and then there's fly by the seat of your pants improv, and, well, we are in the latter.
Maybe that's what, when we figure out the whole... monetization.
We start with
monetization.
We're curmudgeons when we're still trying to figure that out. All the young kids would have us like going public right now. And we
have like that'd be okay.
Right. But we're just like,
but we just get like maybe like offer as a perk, you can come into our chat and see what we know.
Yeah. Knowing our luck, though, they'll take what we talk about literally, and our perks will be like old flip phones.
Yeah.
Here you go. Or we find ourselves broadcasting from the golden years retirement assisted living community. Which would be kind of a hoot, actually. I'd enjoy that.
You'd be in front of Feinstein with now in chat. Did you say? And the big poster would come up. Is that a? Is that a fart joke, or is that referring? No, Senator. That refers.
Grassley leans over, goes, "Are you going to eat that pudding?"
There's so much. Yeah. There's like nothing to talk about.
No, there's nothing to talk about.
I do have one thing to talk about, which I was kind of. Well, we were kind of. Okay. I know we've been on and off. We haven't been regular.
Right. We've been incontinent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why you need Metamucil.
That's right.
Metamucil is the only thing to make you regular.
Where you come in this hour sponsored by Mucilix.
Next hour sponsored by Polident.
X-Lax. Yeah, Paula didn't, right.
I literally saw a commercial. Now they kind of hide it, what they're talking about. Like, okay, back when you were growing up, the grandma and grandpa would watch like the Lawrence Welk show and the old shows, right?
Sure.
And maybe when you get older, your brain from nostalgia just starts dialing back. Maybe that's what's happening to us.
I think so.
That's like the official, that's the official sign of our like age and senility and downcline, is that now it's like, oh my God, look, this Perry Mason episode, I haven't seen this one. It's pretty good, right? You know what I mean? It's like,
well, I think as we get older and we are more, and I used the term earlier, unmoored. We're unmoored from things of trends that have grown up to people who are younger. I think it's only human and natural that we try to grasp and hold on to something that is familiar. I know that sounds a little, but I think it's true.
A generation without a country, Jason. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right. The lost generation. Yeah,
which is really lost because most of them are now past.
Right. Yes.
But yeah. So I mean, when they would watch these shows, which were the old folk shows at the time, Lawrence Welk was the one I remembered. Definitively, if you had one show that would define when you were a kid that your grandmas would watch, is Lawrence Welk. I mean, this was a show, which then became fascinating because, well, at least my generation, kids grew up on this show because they had to sit. They were sitting there watching it.
Turn off the bubble machine.
Yeah, so it was like all of a sudden I've known musicians and people who were like, oh no, I know that Lawrence Welk arrangements and stuff. I grew up on I had to sit through this, so I know.
Yeah. For us, Mantovani is not a code word.
Yeah,
we know. What? Oh, okay. But for me, it was two shows that were endemic of my whole younger years. Yeah. Mainly because my parents watched them almost quasi-religiously. First one was Lawrence Welk, right? And then my grandparents also watched it too, so whenever I'd visit, I have it on. The second one, which is, this may be kind of unique, but this is just my personal memory, is Ernie Kovacs.
Yeah.
My mom loved Ernie Kovacs, and every week we would watch Ernie Kovacs. And to me
that's interesting because, did you actually...
Or laughing.
You grew up here.
Yes.
Okay, you grew up in the Portland.
Born in Astoria, moved into Oregon City when I was 3.
Okay, because I'm curious about that because because a lot of that stuff I missed when I was a kid. I remember when some of those shows like Leave It to Beaver and stuff came on, I was a little bit more like, maybe I was in high school, and I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it.
Right.
And then it did come on. It was like, oh, this is what this Leave It to Beaver is, the show that everyone's parents grew up with or whatever. Yeah. So I never saw Ernie Kovacs until I was like an adult, and it was on cable TV.
Right.
I mean, I think part of also the other thing that revived a lot of this stuff for people like younger adults was Nick at Night.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And then
so the cable channels.
TV Land.
In TV Land, yeah. Those were the two cable channels where they played a lot of that old stuff. Yes. And so you found it. So there are people who were like if in their 40s or maybe even in the 30s maybe or so that grew up with the cable TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't grow up with cable TV. I mean, again, that came in late.
Yeah, I grew up. My cable TV back then when I was a youngster, they call Jack Webbism, youngster, was KPTV.
Yeah.
They were the local channel that played the old,
Yeah, so you mentioned a couple of, like you said, like
Lawrence Welk Channel 10.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. I'd never seen Kovacs until cable.
Yeah.
And it came on and it was like, and it would be like, I heard about him and the innovation and all that stuff. So I watched that when I was older, like, young adult or college or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's when I saw Kovacs. And the reason Kovacs is a great example.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to talk about early television innovation, like technical innovation, comedy, technical innovation, That Ernie Kovacs was brilliant. Like, he was one of the pioneers in all of that.
He was.
Like, quite literally. Like, even with the technology that they used in live television, they did a whole bunch of gags and stuff with, like, green screen and things like that never... That was, like, the first time they ever used that stuff in live television.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fascinating just as someone who's into production, television production, any of that stuff.
A time capsule to see how it was.
To even just watch those like effects and things that they're playing with, and you're like, wow, and this is what, 1959 or something, or 60 or
59,
something?
early 60s,
Yeah. So, yeah, that was great. So I hadn't seen him, and I like I said, I hadn't ever seen Peter Gunn.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, but it never popped up on my TV stations.
Yeah,
so I never saw it.
People today probably know the theme way more than the show itself.
The song. I mean, the theme. And like I say, I think. Well, I had a friend who's actually theme songs this week on his Facebook, and I put Peter Gunn there, and he said the same thing. We're basically the same age. And he said, "I've never seen the show. No, I know the song. I know the tune. Everyone knows the Peter Gunn theme, which is which he pointed out, Henry Mancini.
Yes.
So Henry Mancini has a few theme hits,
and not only
just a few, like as in several,
but written Blake Edwards.
Yeah,
written by Blake Edwards. Of course, folks, you know him as the guy who wrote Pink Panther.
Yeah,
and
directed, produced, and again. It's no surprise that Peter Gunn theme was written by Henry Mancini, because Henry Mancini scored all those other the Pink Panther theme is Henry Mancini. Right. That's the other one that people know. Probably, I would say probably the number one tune that people know of Henry Mancini is the theme to the Pink Panther.
I think so.
Maybe close second is Peter Gunn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pink Panther, definitely.
Baby Elephant Walk.
Yeah.
I believe
that's true.
Henry Mancini, if I remember correctly.
I believe so.
Yeah. I think, there's some others I'm not thinking of. Moon River? No, I always think Moon River's
Moon River. So.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was like, I'd never seen this.
Yeah.
It was just kind of weird, but whatever.
When I received the messages and we were talking the other night and about the Peter Gunn and the old shows. I mean, when I first turned it on, I started watching it. Wow, what a flashback. I mean, I was like, Peter Gunn, 77, which I hadn't think or even thought about that series in decades. And the one thing I did remember from 77 Sunset Strip was the cool, funky theme song. Again, the theme song, those jingles that get in your mind and think, with the little slapstick thing, 77 Sunset Strip.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm waiting for them. I have not looked through their whole lineup, but I'm patiently waiting for them to see if they'll put on The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. Which, of course, Maynard G. Krebs was TV's first beatnik.
Yeah, I've seen that. And that was Bob Denver, right?
Bob Denver, yeah.
Who I knew growing up as...
Gomer Pyle.
No, Gilligan.
Oh, Gomer. That was Jim Neighbors.
Yeah, I know. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because he had the goatee.
Yes, Maynard G. Krebs. Yeah, right. Gilligan. Yeah. Bob Denver.
That's what I do like about those noir late 50s, 60s shows and movies.
Yeah.
Is when the straight guy who's the PI, like Peter Gunn, walks into the club and there's the guy with the bongos and the the poetry, and it's like, I'm like, oh man, all the elements. It's pretty good.
Oh, like last night, I'm sitting there and I'm watching Peter Gunn. And he walks. Of course, the show starts with him walking into a club, and you can see it's kind of smoky, a little hazy, trying to get that cool lighting atmosphere. And there's a young lady who turns out to be his girlfriend. She's on the stage, and she's singing that song, "You Rascal You."
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
think it starts. A lot of those shows starts out.
Yeah.
Starts out with with in the bar, walks into the bar, sees his girlfriend. His girlfriend's up on stage singing a jazzy song.
A jaunty tune.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like. I mean, I like I like the whole era. I heard. Okay, I'm just going to throw this out because we still got lots more to talk about.
Sure.
But I was listening to KMHD, which is the jazz station, several weeks back, and I was trying to look for this show last night for you, but I couldn't find it. And they were the whole subject of the show was crime jazz. Literally what it was called.
Yeah.
And actually, Rhino, the great folks at Rhino Records, their punk compilation is fantastic.
Yeah.
I have that. They do lots of compilations, lots of archival type music
and period pieces.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Rhino's fantastic. I think Zappa even had some Rhino stuff. Yeah. Anything Devo.
Oh yeah.
Devo stuff.
Yeah.
I have But anyway, Rhino Records put out a box set or album or whatever it is of crime jazz and crime jazz themes. And you're talking to people like Quincy Jones that produced a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, we talked about Henry Mancini. There's a lot of actually one of the themes, I can't remember what show it was. They use a theme by Duke Ellington.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's one of the more famous private detective shows or whatever, I don't know. But movies and all that use, and so jazz was like the music of those film noir detective things when you get into like the 50s.
Seen as more of the hipster sort of.
I mean it's kind of classic. Soundtrack music in the 30s, and like Maltese Falcon and that, which is old, like 38 or something like that. But as soon as you get off into the 40s, and then
Big Sleep was 41, so I think Maltese Falcon was 39.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, something like I know it was like late 30s.
Yeah.
But when you start heading toward the 50s post-war and all that, then you really get into the jazz, and you see it in television, you see it in the film noir and detective stories,
everywhere from movies to car commercials.
Yeah. And Peter Gunn.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is pretty much totally jazz.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like car chase. Jazz is the best thing for a detective show.
Oh, easily.
You have a car chase and you know what I mean?
With almost the Dizzy Gillespie riff,
gunshots,
right. When you can tell
drum fill,
yes,
you know what I mean?
And then the stand bass, boom, boom,
oh yeah,
boom,
oh yeah, that's car chase music right there,
right? And the scene is these guys in the car, right? And the scene behind them is totally phony because it's something, but it's great because they turn the corner and both of them do this.
Yeah, I have to say, the phonier the better when they have the screen in the back of the car chase. But to be fair, okay, so what I've seen of the Peter Gunn TV show, high production values,
great production for the time, values, yes.
Like camera angles and stuff. Like really, it's Blake Edwards, so you're like, okay, this guy's, Blake Edwards is not considered a shoddy director or producer. I mean, he's done some good work.
There was one scene that actually blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't watched the show in a long time. But they did a super focus up on the guy in the forefront. Bam, there in the face. And then Peter Gunn is just off to his left behind him. And it's an intense shot. I'm like, wow, they don't do that today.
Yeah.
There's never, it was.
Yeah, television.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed. Like there were somewhat they do. I noticed they do the upshot,
yes,
and the downshot,
yep,
which is great. Like there's one part where he walks in to talk to the lieutenant, and it's the upshot.
Yep.
So the camera's kind of angled, looking up at them,
yeah.
and they're using up lighting, so there's kind of shadows cast on their face, and then you've got the down. They're in the lab, and they actually had a crane in from the top of the lab coming down to them. Wow. I mean, this was all in this TV show, and if you're into really cool filmmaking, like the stuff mostly that you see today. Sorry,
right.
Actual stuff, So
let me ask you this question: as the resident video, movie, film, cinema kind of guy, Do you think that it was because these guys were part of the generation of black and white, and they were used to using the different lighting to make the scene, because it's on like a 2 or 3 color spectrum, whereas when you're in full color, you can totally different. Do you think that's the way? Because they still remember stuff from black and white, and they remember that you have to have the lighting a certain way, the shadow a certain way, because it's evocative, right? More so in black and white than in color. What do you think, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
And actually,
Yes.
we got a chat here, or message from Steve.
Excellent.
Who mentioned film cameramen working in television.
Yeah.
In Hollywood. So that goes. You guys, I think, are both having the same thought.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got film, people who maybe worked as a camera person on Peter Gunn, and then maybe went off and did this movie or whatever. So it's the same technique, same.
Gotcha.
I mean, most of television drama was filmed on film anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with black and white especially, it is all about the lighting. And that's the other thing you're basically pointing out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I learned so much when I started watching movies like The Third Man and other stuff, how they played with light and shadow.
Because there's no color.
Right.
There's no color, Jason.
So they have to emote through lighting and shadow and texture and that stuff. And so when I noticed TV shows like Peter Gunn, it stood out to me so much. I was like, holy crap, I never see this today. This is, wow, groundbreaking.
This is why in was it the early 90s, I want to say? Early 90s? Remember when Turner bought all the classic movies?
Yes, and he colorized all
classic movies.
Yeah.
And they went out, and because they had the computer technology to take the black and white films that were made in black and white and turn them into color movies in color. And there were people, gosh, did they testify at the Senate? It was some big public hubbub where all these directors, famous directors, and people came out and went, "Oh, time out.
How dare you? Yeah.
This is like going, I think that Mona Lisa needs to be repainted, don't you? Little color, a little pink here, a little here. No, you don't touch it. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think you're grabbing technology a little too tight. Yeah. Appreciate the art form for what it was back then.
Later, so it's, folks, it's really, with the exception of maybe the atom bomb.
But,
But still, that does releases unlimited energy and stuff you could do with that. But it's not really the technology. It's how you use it. And that those techniques for colorization of film were employed throughout the 90s and to this day to restore color films. So gotcha. the upside of all of that is then you get, I've got a 50th anniversary Blu-ray copy of North by Northwest, completely restored to what they wanted the theatrical color to be. This is
pristine.
If you walked into the theater on the first week to see the print of North by Northwest, here's what you should have seen on the screen.
Now I'm in favor of that.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. They've restored, I think, all of the Hitchcock films. But then going back and saying, colorizing Psycho, which was shot in black and white, no, you don't do that. Because, like you said, the source filmmaking is different.
I remember I had the most problem with that when I sat there one time, and I think it was actually on a Turner channel, TBS or something like that. They showed the old movie Sands of Iwo Jima with John Wayne. And his olive green, BDUs he was wearing was punched up to the point where it looked almost animated. And that's what I was like, oh gosh, that doesn't look so great. Yeah. It's something, everything's almost animated, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's not good.
But you're right. Nowadays that they're able to take this technology and literally bring forth what it looked like when they premiered it, that is invaluable to help saving for generations down the line, yeah, this is what it looked like. Or
Well,
this
it just got ridiculous because I remember in the 90s watching Turner Classic TV and watching The Maltese Falcon, which was one of my favorite movies, watching The Maltese Falcon, and there's a scene with Jabba the Hutt. I don't remember Jabba the Hutt being in The Maltese Falcon. Do you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
George Lucas. No.
Lucas is like, well, put him in here.
I tried. Apparently that wasn't so funny.
Yeah, I kind of...
That was a dual reference. There's a dual reference to restoring and making things color, and then George Lucas going back and reanimating stuff in his old movies.
Right. Yeah, I kind of lost it when they had a scene in Gone with the Wind, and Jar Jar Binks,
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of...
I know. Lisa, don't think you should use those drapes for your dress. That would actually make a good mashup, actually.
Right.
Dude.
Or Jar Jar as they're panning away, and he's like, I will never go hungry again.
Frankly, my dear, and Jar Jar, I don't give a damn. And then he rides off with the horse with a lightsaber.
Right.
Off to fight the North.
When you say, frankly, Jar Jar, I don't give a damn. He's got to go like this. He's got to go,
Yeah.
Make that sound.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so film. But yeah, they can restore those things, and the black and white is definitely you don't want to mess with that. You can restore it. And here's what's weird.
Was that done with I'm gonna mangle this, and that's why I'm just kind of a question mark at the end.
Yeah.
Was that the old celluloid, right? When they did those old films, was it celluloid or it's like acetone, acetate, something? It was something like that, and I know that those are highly dissolvable after years and years, and Hollywood for a long time was scrambling trying to save all these.
Yes, and that's what happened to the Hitchcock movies. Well, they're chemicals.
Yeah,
and they degrade. And so,
they're not like Twinkies. They actually do have a shelf life.
Yeah, and so if they're not stored correctly, it's worse.
Yeah.
Although, the typical story would be that like Warner Brothers and all of those folks, MGM and stuff, had vaults that were, supposedly climate controlled and all that, where they put the negatives and the prints of
there were a lot
films,
of
but they still degraded.
Yeah, RKO, Republic, all the ones that kind of
they still
almost
degraded.
At the end of the day ended up in somebody's box in somebody's attic because places go out of business, smaller studios go out of business, and it ends up in somebody's collection. Who hands it down to hand it down to hand it down, and it ends up in some box somewhere. And then finally a film historian comes in and says, we've got to save this.
Shout out to a guy I know who works on a film festival for the youth kids, Ned Thanhauser of Thanhauser Studios. It's an interesting story.
Okay.
I think he's on Facebook. They have Facebook. They have a website. I want to say his grandparents, great-grandparents, whatever, were old silent film. They had a studio.
Wow.
The family, and we're talking, this was when filmmaking, like in, the 20s, when filmmaking, motion pictures actually started coming about.
Yeah.
And people would go to the Kino or whatever and watch silent films. We're talking about the silent films.
The Nickelodeon. Yeah.
And then when the original big studios were formed, if you didn't know, they were formed by people like Charlie Chaplin. I'm trying to think. RKO stands for, and I'm going to botch it. Maybe
wasn't it like radio something?
Yeah, but they're one of the biggest studios was filmed by three major actors. Was it Mary Astor? What was her name? Mary Pickford? I can't remember.
Mary Astor.
Yeah. Chaplin had his own, those folks. And so that was the early days of filmmaking. But before then, it was like YouTube. Basically, it was like, hey, what do you want to do? Well, we got a film camera over here and let's do some stuff and let's make movies and then put them in the theaters, right?
Yeah.
And then, then Hollywood really came about, and then big Hollywood studios, Warner Brothers and MGM and all
swallowed up
became,
everything,
and then they owned the theaters that you would go see. So it was like, they owned the experience. But this was before that, the earliest days of filmmaking. So Thanhouser, they made these, I don't know how many, it's like a lot. It's like hundreds or thousands, I want to say. Like all these short films. Wow. And so he has this archive from his family of these films, and they go and they restore them.
Wow.
Like digitally.
Wow.
And it's a restoration process. And you can imagine what the state of those films are in from like 1920s or something. They're in a pretty bad state of affairs. Some are lost. Some they can't restore at all. And this is not just them, but this is early.
I remember watching several years ago Turner Classic Movies, and they had on a silent movie, and they warned at the beginning there are a couple scenes where we were not able to restore, and it's going to kind of click and jump ahead.
But I mean, it's all chemicals, and it's all over the years. You find out that those chemicals don't last that long. They break down. They're organic. Color especially. Color even worse than black and white. And I go up to YouTube or go do some reading on Wikipedia. You can read all about color film and color film process. As a matter of fact, the story behind, I believe it's Technicolor, is a fascinating story, which includes a story about a woman who was invented it, and the patent, and lawsuits and horrible things that happened to this woman who actually was like one of the inventors or co-inventors of I think it was Technicolor. What was the other one?
Todd-AO?
No,
that sound?
That's sound. But I think it's Technicolor was the one.
Something Vision?
Yeah.
Is Technicolor and something...
I think it's Technicolor. Okay. If you look up the history, maybe I'll take a time out and take a look at this. This woman's story is amazing, and of course, it really reads as a, hey, you know what? That's nice. You're a woman inventor. It's a man's world.
Right.
Bye, honey.
We're gonna swallow you up. And
I mean, I read through this and go, this would make a fascinating story, like a film or something.
It would. Yeah.
And if you read through the actual techniques that were invented to create color film, it's crazy.
Really?
I mean, it's really just like, okay, who thought this? Well, at first, you had 3 different films going through a camera.
Yeah.
With like a prism. And so there was all like black and white film, that would hit, here's the blue, here's the red.
Yeah.
And then you had to piece it together. And so the earliest forms were like you had this giant camera, it was like IMAX or something, and with all this film that had to be synchronized, and obviously that wasn't going to work. And then they basically learned how to bake gel, and it actually, I believe, gelatin based.
Yeah.
Jello. Yeah. Gelatin based.
Yeah.
Dyes, and
how they'd have
to bake each dye on, okay, let's do the red dye now. Let's do the, I mean, it was tons of science.
Right.
I mean, obviously tons and tons of science, but also, tons of craftsmanship and skill.
And even back in the golden days of Hollywood, the people who would show the movies in theaters, the projectionists, they were specialists. They had their own union. And
they still do. I mean,
they were way more. I mean, scientific. I mean, you're right. Everything's got to be synced. There's a process to it, and it wasn't some kid, doing a part-time job after high school. Okay, I'll just turn it on and off. It wasn't like that at all. I mean, everything was highly professional back then, and that is interesting. Yeah, and I'm glad that we are around to see the technological advance to the point where we can use today's technology to help restore the old gems that, but if not for that, would be lost forever. And it still depresses me whenever you hear about someone about, oh yeah, these guys did these movies, but there are no copies anymore. And it's like something that's just lost forever. And that to me, it depresses me, But
it's not. I'm just looking here on the Wikipedia. I don't think it's Technicolor. It was another process as famous.
I thought it was like something Vision. Not
VistaVision. It says here Technicolor is the trademark. Technicolor still exists as a color space. In fact, I loaded it. So they still exist. They still do Technicolor in the digital age. Yeah. It's a motion picture corporation founded in Boston in 1914 by Herbert Kalmus, Daniel Frost Comstock, and W.
Looking this up, folks. Because you said something just a minute ago.
I'm trying. I want to
VistaVision. I remember something about that.
I wish I could find that story because this Anyway, I know this is that whole point where we sort of look at the thing. I need to totally find this story because I'm so fascinated. I've mentioned this before. I read this whole story about this. Well, we'll figure it out. But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's
Technicolor. Oh, okay. VistaVision is different. Is a higher resolution widescreen variant of the 35 millimeter motion picture format.
That's like there's like Panavision.
Vista fit
Omnivision.
1954.
Actually, that's all part of the history of. Then you get into wide format film and the IMAX.
Right.
Yeah. I've read all about that stuff. I don't do film, though. I mean, the only film that I ever did was still photography on Kodachrome, which Kodachrome is a variant of... when Kodachrome came out, that is a variant of... I don't want to say Technicolor, but it's the variant of the film stock that they used in movies.
Yeah. So. Heck, more people probably know that term from the lyrics of Paul Simon's
Paul Simon's song. Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
So anyway, I gotta find that at some point what I'm talking about, which I can't remember. But anyway, so they did all this stuff with the color, and it all deteriorated because of the chemicals, obviously, and so they've been using those techniques to restore it digitally. And then, bring it up to the 21st century. What are we doing right now? We're doing UHD 4K, which is a bigger format than what we're doing. That's like 8 times what we're streaming at right now. We're streaming at 720p HD. That's what we're streaming at.
Gotcha.
We actually post the show at 1080p, which is like 4 times 1080p, basically. Yeah. That's what the 4K is. Gotcha. But I've just been reading... last night, because I'm doing my video technology, digital stuff.
Yes.
HDR, high definition range.
Okay.
So this is relevant to today. We're talking about black and white movies. We're talking about all the grays and the blacks and the color space, and then how color films. Well, in today's television and films, we have HDR, high definition range, and that's the ability to define more shades of color in the darker and the higher range.
Yeah.
Told you we talked tech today.
That's right.
So that's kind of the thing. You have to have a television that does it. Some theaters do it.
Yeah. The cutting edge.
Yeah, I'd recommend, like, if you really like these blockbusters, which are all delivered on digital, like these Marvels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd recommend making sure you go to a theater like the formats match up, because I'm not going to say what it is. It was a Star Wars movie. I'm not going to say what movie it was. It was one of the Star Wars movies. Recent. That I watched the movie and I thought it was too dark.
Okay.
I just didn't, and that was a complaint, and people are like blaming the theaters for that. Which I don't know, but I think that's part of the issue, is the dynamic range of the...
Doesn't translate well. Gotcha.
What it is I'll give you a real simple... It's brightness levels, and I'll give you a real simple explanation.
Okay.
A super simple explanation in filmmaking or video or digital. It's like...
Ladies and gentlemen, super simple explanation.
And that is, where is black? So basically, at some point, somewhere in the screen, like maybe over here, or right there behind me, maybe over here, maybe not so much. It depends on the monitor. But at some point, something looks black. Oh, this microphone, black, no color, right?
The frame of the
whatever.
cityscape,
Yeah, right. And that's what level is it? What gray scale level? When does it go to that?
Yeah.
And so what HDR opens up the brightness dynamic range where there's more shadows till you get to black, and also can do it on the when things are white and bright. You can see more. You can see more detail. That's all it is.
So it really does justice to the old black and white, where there's heavy lighting and shadow and manipulation of that.
Here's the question. Going back to the filmmaking thing, here's the question I have. How would that affect an old film noir movie?
It's a good question.
Like, I feel like it would be the same. It might be the same as colorizing it. Like, if all of a sudden I go, hey, we're going to do the Maltese Falcon and it's in HDR10 or HDR10 plus, or actually, if you may have run across this when you go to a movie theater and it says Dolby Atmos. That's what it is. That's exactly Dolby's version of this dynamic range level.
Yeah.
Because at in a film noir movie, guys in the shadows, you barely see it. He comes out of the black, out of the shadows and stuff. How would that? I have been thinking about this with black and white movies and older movies as relates to the old. Let's colorize these old movies. It's like, well, let's do maybe we don't want that many nits.
Yeah.
In our thing. I said nits because that's actually the technical term for it.
Okay.
Nits are levels of brightness.
Okay.
So if you have, my screen is 100 nits, and I think it's 100 nits for HD or something like that.
That's like standard HD?
I think so. Okay. And it's levels of brightness.
Okay.
It's just something they came up with. They call it nit.
Yeah.
You can buy a TV now. It's like, ooh, this goes up to 150 nits, which means it's got more levels of brightness.
The subtle, yeah.
Dolby Atmos is like something like a 10,000 or something. HDR10 is like 1,000. You see, it's always like, ooh, this is so much better, right?
Yeah.
That is actually the technical term, by the way. And if you haven't already, you will go to the store and buy a new flat panel 4K TV.
Yeah.
And they're gonna throw the sales guy, well, this one has 200 nits, and you're gonna like, what does that mean, bro?
Yeah, but
what does that mean?
How is he gonna handle it when we walk in both wearing turtlenecks and cigars out of the mouth? The nits ain't gonna go over.
That's what we need to do.
It's not gonna go.
We need to go to Best Buy
and get turtlenecks
and ask. And where do you have the tube TVs? Black and white TVs. Well, we want to get a black and white TV. It's like it'd be like the old tube with the two knobs on it. The volume.
Yes.
And the thing.
Right.
No remote.
No remote, no.
And with the mesh at the bottom for the speakers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then the mesh in the back because the tubes get really hot on your television.
Gotta breathe.
Folks, televisions used to have tubes in them.
Yeah.
These glass bulbs.
So let me ask you this question because now I'm intrigued about the different sort of lighting and the techniques they're doing it.
Welcome to Tech Talk with Jason and Duck.
The movie that I was thinking of when you were talking about that I've always had a question about when they're trying to redo it and make it the best it can be is, and now we're going into that season, is Dracula.
Yeah.
I mean, there are large parts where it was nothing but just like very little light, and pitch black, and how could those new techniques manipulate that to make it more crystal?
Yeah.
Sort of.
See, that's I don't know. That's what I wonder when I read about like all the new HDR technology and all of that. By the way, where you have HDR? If you have one of these modern Android or iPhones in your photography, there's usually a setting in there, and the ones in the last couple of years that are HDR.
Wow.
That's what it means.
Wow.
What it does is actually, all it does is when you take a picture, because it's fast, it takes, instead of one picture, it takes 3 pictures or 4 pictures. One is overexposed, one is underexposed, one is
blends
exposed,
everything together,
and then it blends it together based on, so the overexposed one is for the darker area, the underexposed one is for the bright area, and then what they do with the software and your iPhone or your Android is blend that together to make it go, like when you take a picture and there's a mountain and then there's the grass here and everything, and the grass is either too dark or the mountain's too bright or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you blend the pictures together, you get the right exposure in the bright skyline, and then the right exposure in the darker areas of the picture. Landscape photography, perfect example.
Well, I feel like looking at my cell phone and say, I don't know you at all.
Yeah.
All these
it's not like something that's totally like, what is he talking about? It's actually, you probably have it in your phone for still photography today. Turn it on, by the way. Like, unless you don't want to and you're doing something artistic.
Is that somewhere in your settings or something hidden?
Okay. On mine, it's just like because it should improve your pictures. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're usually shooting on automatic or whatever anyway.
And it's not a default sort of
It
setting.
could be. Yeah. I don't know if it is on the new iPhone. It might be.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay. But so that's what that is. But that's a great question about that, because it's like, what about the film, like you said, like what about Dracula? Oh. Was it printed so many times over the years that that the exposure was lost, and
like
could they recreate it? The problem is if the information's not there, the information's not there. Yeah. So I would guess that if you had an old film, and it's black, it's dark in the dark, there's not a way to pull that the information's gone. You have to have image information. Same with if it's too bright.
So you'd have to have almost first generation reel to get that. Okay.
So for movies today, you get all that.
Yeah.
You get it first generation. And if you look at it just raw, or if it's not adjusted well, it looks like complete, utter crap.
Yeah.
So if we set this, we could set this. I wonder if the stream's looking a little shifty, by the way. I don't know if it is or not. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm always reviewing it because we're working with a new streaming thing. But anyway, if we set up our system to lend itself well to doing HDMI, which is all in post-processing, we'd look horrible. It would look like washed. It's like that washed out, like when your photograph is totally washed out. And you're like, you can actually see everything in there, but nothing pops.
Hey, with us, it might work, though.
I know.
But we should do...
We're really getting into the weeds. See, someday... Doc Normal may do a podcast about video technology and all that stuff.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
There's a lot of good stuff on YouTube, though.
So I think because I was thinking of this when you were talking about the light and dark, is there a way that we could do a Coffee with Curmudgeons show, one-time only episode, all in like old school black and white? Could we do that?
Yeah, we can.
That would be epic.
By the way, did look on the encoder and it is overrunning. So
gotcha.
So I might have to redo this one again. It's just settings and adjustments, and I'm oversaturate the machine. And I thought I had the adjustments right before, and I probably don't. It's just adjustments. It's all fixable. So just FYI,
tweaking.
If we're sort of like blocky and kind of doing this weird shifty thing, I know what's going on.
Hey, those guys look like that Max Headroom guy.
It's been a while since we've done the show, so I thought I had the settings set. So I'll just go back and set it again. Just letting you know. So because the last time I know one time we did the show and it was all really like shifting. I just deleted it and redid it. So it's just
we are a little choppy right now.
I am tweaking things, and we're using a different service too. So that's all tweaking. So just telling you, sorry, we'll fix it.
Oh, yeah.
I hate when that happens too, because I know it's just I can just go over there and it's like stop the stream and tweak.
One click.
Yeah, I'm going to do it right after this too. I'm going to go. That's the technical part, which is like how much of the CPU are you using and where is it spending its time and
Gotcha.
Again, it's all tech. God, let's talk tech.
Well, I want to do a black and white show one time.
We're gonna do it. But Halloween's coming up.
Halloween is coming up.
Would be a perfect time to do
that. Would be a perfect time. Maybe bring in like a Halloween sort of expert or something. Maybe bring in like paranormal maybe or something like that.
We could totally do it for Halloween.
Yeah.
I can totally do it for Halloween.
There's one man I'm thinking of right now who would be an excellent guest for a Halloween show.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm going to out him right now. I'm going to do it.
Count Dracula?
Nope. He is a local psychic medium. And he is our kind of curmudgeon. He's great. William Becker, who's also a history guy.
Yeah.
And we could talk about the ghosts and the goblins.
So if we do the black and
also
white
Rebecca
show,
House, Dr. Rebecca House too, because she's
I think we should plan this.
Yes, I think so too.
Excuse us while we have a production meeting.
Excuse me, on the air live.
Yeah, live on the air.
Hey, you can help us.
Yeah, that's a good one. We could do it in black and white.
Yes.
Now, see, we would want to light it for that, though.
Right.
If you want to make it look right. So all this lighting we'd have to.
Ooh, that could be. No. Would it be tough to?
We just shut these lights off and
get the interns.
Bring in some others. Yeah. Yeah.
These lights off. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need some uplighting. I mean, if you're doing a scary thing, you need the uplighting.
Right.
We don't have any.
Right, and maybe the shadow that does half the face.
Yeah, that's what you get with the. All you got to do when you're making your YouTube videos and you want that look with the shadows on the face.
Yes.
You put the light down by your waist. Put it down here. Film it up. It's the same as remember when you were a kid. Get the flashlight and do that. That's how it's done.
Okay.
And I literally saw that shot a couple times in Peter Gunn.
Yes.
The other night. Where it was like, oh, that light's like right down there, and the camera right down with the camera, like they're shooting up, and both the light and the camera are shooting up. I mean, there's backlighting and stuff too. It's not just like that, but it was like that's cute. That's real good.
Yeah.
Gives that conversation a little more drama to it, a little more weight.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, just kind of like okay.
Right.
Anyway, so let's move into the most important topic of the day.
Okay.
We've been talking about this for weeks.
Okay.
It is a super, everyone's talking about this.
Okay.
I mean, we can't not talk about this.
Right.
It's been in the news.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect segue with filmmaking as well.
Okay.
I mean, this week especially.
Right.
It's been in the news every day.
Yeah.
Everyone, you can't stop. Everyone's talking about this.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Yes.
The premiere, the opening of A Star Is Born.
That's correct.
Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
That's right. That's right. Yes, I know it's been hot on everyone's plate, and
everyone's. I mean, there's no news other than Lady Gaga.
No. In fact,
Bradley Cooper in A Star Is Born.
Right. In fact, people were just on my way over here today. There were people on the side of the road that had T-shirts that said "Cava who." And then The Star Is Born. It's like, okay, I get you.
Well, I figure since we're talking about filmmaking.
Yeah, Star Is Born.
I've actually been anticipating this movie.
Okay.
Because in anticipation of the movie, I think, Netflix happened to put on, I'm not sure if it's still up there. It might, how they take stuff off every month. So I know it was up there in September.
Okay.
They put on the 1976, was it?
Oh.
Version. I believe it was 76. The 70s version of A Star Is Born.
Chris Christopherson.
Streisand,
right?
And Barbara Streisand.
Yes.
Produced.
Yes.
And almost directed by Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
There's a great article that the director wrote 20 years ago about the making of that movie.
Really?
It's worth a really good read.
Really?
About what he went through to make that movie with Barbara Streisand.
What he went through.
And her boyfriend, producer, John Peters.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
Okay.
So I watched that.
Okay.
Because I'd seen parts of it, but I'd never sat down.
Me too.
So I sat down with a friend.
Yeah.
We sat down and we're going to watch this movie. And of course, there's lots of music in it.
Yeah.
Because it's music. It's Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
What is the big hit song from A Star Is Born? Because even though I didn't see it as a kid, I couldn't see it. It was like To a Doll or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
On the radio, you couldn't turn the radio on without hearing the hit song from the Chris Christopherson, Barbara Streisand
Okay.
Star is Born.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm not even in that place right now.
Evergreen. Evergreen.
Okay.
Soft as an evening wave.
Okay. And it's all coming
Your
back
love
to me.
is, you know.
Yeah.
Paul Williams.
Yes.
See, I'm not going to play it because then we'll get the whole stupid copyright thing.
I know.
I would love to play it for you right now.
Yeah, just be us screaming at the screen. It's Paul Williams.
It's Paul Williams. Paul Williams. Co-wrote that. Interesting stories about Paul Williams trying to write music for the show with Barbra Streisand. No offense to Barbra Streisand. I mean, she has an image.
Yeah.
And turns out, I read some stuff. I started like going down the rat hole, but she's like one of the richest entertainers in existence.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
Like because she started out early, and she produced, and then and again she produced this version of A Star Is Born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so it was like it wasn't just like she acted in it, and I think after that she's produced pretty much all of her films, from the 70s on.
Right. Because I know Yentl was one of hers.
I think she directed that, wrote it, produced it.
Papa, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But her albums are like more than Sinatra and everything. The sales.
Yeah.
Like she's like, just go on the Wikipedia. You're like, you look at the statistics of her career, and you're like, holy Moses! Oh, she has she has a hit in every decade.
Wow!
Since she started singing, every decade. We're talking about current.
Yeah.
Like no artist has that. No artist has had a hit in that many decades.
Bye Bye Birdie, right?
Yeah,
Hello Dolly. Was that her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evergreen was a hit in the 70s. Yeah. I mean, a hit, like, it's like she's the only one.
Yeah.
You would think Slim Whitman, but...
Well, Slim, yes. Yeah. Slim get in the backseat. Yeah. Babs is in town.
But Sinatra, Elvis. I mean, of course they're gone.
Elvis,
right?
Sinatra
was around. You'd think, but no, she's the only one that had like I mean, you read all the statistics, and then how many albums she sold, concerts, and she's worth like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, she's so Oprah like
that's
money.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
we're talking Oprah level.
Yeah,
stuff here.
Because to me, there are subtle different layers of wealth. You got the millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire. Paul Allen. Gates sort of money, but when I talk about an entertainment, to me it's Oprah type money, right?
Yeah,
that's the threshold.
Right. Yeah.
Babs. Yeah, it's one of those things that I am surprised, but I really shouldn't be because I mean she's been around. And she's been active forever.
But yeah, she's been on top. So I read through that and I was like, wow, okay, that's mad respect. I mean, I knew she was successful, right? It was like, okay, she's very successful as an entertainer. But as compared to all the other entertainers out there, where she is, and she's pretty much like on top, and you're like, wow, okay.
Right.
It's like if you read the statistics. So,
Yeah, because, I mean, other entertainers and stuff maybe weren't involved that much at the back end on the business level, where she was cognizant enough to know that this role in this song isn't going to be just a hit for now. It's going to be 10 years, 20 years down the line. Oh, yeah. Maybe I should be the producer of her. Someone who gets
she today goes out.
Kind of like Redford, right? Who insists on every one of his films for the past 30 years. He insisted not only is he the actor, but he was part of the producing team who saw the points for the gross, not the net.
But I'm talking about her music, like she goes out, she could go, okay, I'm doing some concert tour or whatever. She was sold out.
Madison Square Garden,
done.
A couple of years ago, she did
DVDs, Blu-rays, done. It's like
And I was like, take that whatever band, because I remember what I think it's about 3 years ago now. She did a 3-night stand at Madison Square Garden. You have to look this up. And literally, she took the records for how fast it sold out. Yeah. I mean, we're talking with today's.
She's got a fan base, believe me.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, let's career.
And
all in the decades. I was gonna just. And she came from Broadway. But anyway, enough about Barbra Streisand. I mean, it's like...
or is us that's on the inside, Babs.
Yeah. It's in the... the Wikipedia is like a very long read, of course. But, yeah... I was going to try to find... But anyway, so there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah. She's a really good, like... she's a good, like, ballad and... that kind of singing. I wouldn't say rock and roll and all that. Not so good. I don't like it when it's...
Kind of ballad sort of standard.
Torch standard. Very, Yeah, 100% on the set. It's like if you want to, like, hey, Frank Sinatra's going to sing some Led Zeppelin. No. Okay, let's not do that, right? No. Just sing the standards.
Yeah.
Go with the standards.
Yeah.
Or some Paul Williams ballads or something.
Only Pat Boone can get away with doing heavy metal.
So my review of the Netflix Barbra Streisand, we'll wind this up, right? Teeing this up. My review of that one.
Okay.
Was interesting. Actually, there's like concert scenes and stuff that are really well filmed. Like it looks like a documentary.
Wow.
Turns out the director and the cinematographer film guy, who was like an old dude.
Yeah.
Like he'd like filmed like some great big movies you've heard of, and I can't remember what they are. Like worked on this thing, and they had like they set up these concerts. And got tickets and
wow.
to film these things.
Yeah.
So that the movie actually, as filmed, is actually really good.
Wow.
That 70 Stars Born. Again, talking about the filmmaking stuff.
Yeah.
When it goes to the concert stuff, and of course it's 70s, right? Mm-hmm. Chris Christopherson is this kind of like country rocker guy.
Right.
He's excellent in it.
I'm gonna have to watch
He totally plays because it's Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much like, well, is he acting or is he just being Chris Christopherson? I mean, he's like drinking, going out with the guitar, riding his motorcycle. He plays this. We'll talk about the outline of the story in a bit, but he's really good at it. So he works, as this kind of like, and if you put yourself back in the 70s, like Fleetwood Mac and all that stuff and what was going on in the 70s rock and roll, you're like in that period. You're like, oh yeah, Barbra Streisand, she's good. I feel that the songs, and because she's a standard singer, like if she's like doing a movie where she's singing like standards and jazz ballads and all that stuff like you're talking about, like. Yeah. She does some stuff, and it's kind of like up-tempo stuff, and you're kind of like, I don't know. That's me personally, okay? That's me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. It's not that she's singing bad or anything. It's just she spends, like, part of the movie wearing sweaters and knit hats in Arizona while she's, like, meeting Chris Christopherson, the rocker.
Yeah.
And you're like... Why is she wearing a shawl in air? Shouldn't she be wearing a T-shirt or something? Right. It's a little bit weird. Yeah, so it has its ups and downs.
She's trying to present that duck out of water sort of.
Yeah.
Whereas Christopherson probably has denim on.
He was actually really good in the movie.
Yeah.
So I was really surprised. I was just really surprised. I was like, wow, this movie is a great Chris Christopherson thing. And he can act. We know he can act and do all that stuff. Go see this movie, Lone Star, by John Sayles. Lone Star.
Okay.
Chris Christopherson. Yeah. He has a role in it.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites.
Was it Vaughn? That's not Vince Vaughn, is it?
No. It's a lot of people.
Okay.
Joe Morton, who I saw.
Okay.
Brother from Another Planet, which was an old John Sayles movie, who's worked with John Sayles over the years. He was in it. It's a cast
ensemble.
I can't remember the guy's name. He's a kind of a Texas actor. Elizabeth Pena, the late, who passed away.
Yeah,
she's a co-star in it.
Okay.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Loved her.
Chris Christopherson.
But anyway, Chris Christopherson has a great role. Young Matthew McConaughey is in it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Mm-hmm. I got that.
Texas Rangers.
Yes.
Anyway,
that's right.
So that was good. So that was my review of the 70s. It was really some cool filmmaking, good taste of kind of the arena 70s outdoor concert
festival sort of
like
thing?
cool, like shots of like the people and the feet and the garbage in the arena and stuff. It was like,
wow.
yeah, that's kind of what it was like to go to a concert back then, right?
Right, yeah.
And so that was good. It's an interesting story. So what The Star is Born is, I should back up.
Mm-hmm.
It is a movie that Hollywood has made over and over again. And the reason is, the idea that A Star is Born is made is because it's about Hollywood. It's about it's Hollywood looking at its belly button. So what do you think Hollywood likes to do?
Yeah.
Do that, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm surprised they haven't made more versions of A Star is Born than they have already. This version that's coming out tonight is number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Yeah.
I saw an article on one of the major, and they said something about 1932, and I'm like, okay, I'll but in my mind, it's number 4. Yeah. The first time the film was made was in 1937.
Okay.
I have not seen this film. It is on my homework assignment, and I am sorry that by the time this film premiered with Lady Gaga, I wanted to have seen the first original one, and I haven't done it. I just haven't had time on my homework.
Gotcha.
And that is it's a talkie, of course. I mean, it's a film. I don't know if it's in black and white or color. I can't remember. It is the story of A Star is Born.
Mm-hmm.
Star is Born story is an ingenue. Is that the right word?
Ingenue, yes.
Would that be the right word?
Yes.
How would you define an ingenue?
Kind of a ingenue would be a sultry, up and coming nightclub sort of singer.
Okay.
She's yeah, that's that. I think that's. I'm just trying to.
I was gonna say we could ask Alexa, but I'm a little afraid of
the response.
Yeah, you're like, what the heck?
Well, let's try it. This might work out well.
Oh, it's I-N. Okay, I misspelled it. It's I-N-G-E with the thing N-U-E.
Mm-hmm.
According to Wikipedia, ingenue may also refer to a new young actress or one typecast in such roles.
There you go. Yeah.
The term comes from French feminine form of French adjective ingénue, meaning ingenious or innocent, virtuous, and candid. The term may also imply a lack of sophistication and cunning.
Gotcha. Yeah. Raw talent, undiscovered.
Yes.
Isn't that also the title of a Katie Lang album?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Katie, does she still live in Portland? We could ask her.
I don't know. We should get her on.
She used to.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, did you? She might actually, I think. Maybe he still does.
We may have to get Katie
See, you
Lang
didn't
on
know
the show,
that
then.
stuff you don't know. Katie Lang.
All right. That's my homework for the weekend. I'm going on. We'll get Katie.
Yeah. So so it is a young ingenue, a woman, who meets a actor or musician,
who's
depending
at the top of his game.
Not necessarily the top of the
way. Or
way.
is he on the other side?
Yes. On the other side.
Okay.
The declining.
Gotcha.
He once was on the top.
Almost sounds like that one with Jeff Bridges a few years ago. Remember, he was a country music guy, Jeff Bridges. And
I don't remember that one.
On his way down.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have...
Wild at Heart or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure people have done the Star is Born story, not in the A Star is Born package.
No.
Because I think people own the rights to that and all that.
Right.
So this isn't like a story that hasn't been done.
But thematic sort of.
I'm sure there's a Columbo episode on it. I'm sure there's a Mannix episode that we can watch.
I'm going to watch that tonight.
Yeah.
Cannon
it may come up all of a sudden. Cannon comes in and it's like...
That's right.
How was he murdered? Well, there's the young ingenue he was bringing up.
Cannon.
Yeah.
Cannon. What do you say? Let's bring in the ingenue.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a trope.
Yes.
I guess you could say, kind of a trope story. So
thematic
guy on the decline.
Yes.
Was a star, big hit. Everyone knows him. Can't go anywhere. Everyone's like, hey, you were in that movie. So the original film was about an actor And then he discovers the young woman, brings her under the wing. You know what happens next.
Yes.
They get personally involved.
Yes.
Which in 2018, you should never do. Nope. Keep that separate. And so she rises to the top as he declines down to the bottom.
The student becomes the master.
That's basically the story of A Star is Born.
Gotcha.
And things ensue. Okay? So again, I never saw the first one.
Yeah.
The first one was all about Hollywood and acting. And it was the first, I think it was the first film, because it was the late 30s, that really actually looked at Hollywood, looked back at Hollywood. Then we have different films. So I think that's why it was like, ooh, this is kind of interesting, because it's kind of inside Hollywood.
Yeah.
The best movie, I think, that's like that.
Okay.
Which I now can't remember.
To be continued.
No, it's a Tim Robbins, Robert Altman, The Player. The Player. Do you ever want to see a really good movie that takes place behind the scenes in Hollywood?
Yeah.
See The Player. Robert Altman.
Okay.
Tim Robbins.
That's right.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Which is about modern Hollywood. Yeah. He's a producer. And it's all shot on like the back lots and stuff, you know, the offices. And they're looking at scripts and movies, and there's a death and things ensue. And it's Robert Altman. And Robert Altman does the classic 2-3 minute long shot.
Oh, yeah.
To follow the one where it's like you don't turn the camera off and you block it out, and the camera follows the character throughout the lot. That's the opening scene. It's like, it's a thing that filmmakers and directors like to do. Oh, well, I can do that. If we do our Curmudgeons film, there will be that shot in the Curmudgeons movie, which will be funny because it'll be a comedy. So what will happen is the camera will turn the wrong way, and someone will stop and go, "Oh, shh, put it back on the reel." Okay.
Or bump literally face right into it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we'll do that shot.
Yeah, my favorite long shot is when they follow. Is actually kind of
it's not a long shot. It's like a follow shot.
Yeah, it's the spoof version at the very end. Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
Where they're leaving and then they run into there's Duke Ellington and his orchestra and they get in the cars and they're driving off. It's like it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just like. But anyway, so that's The Star is Born 37. Haven't seen it. Don't have a review for it.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out who it stars. It stars. I'm gonna look it up right now. Just hang on.
But
we need. You know what? We need that. We need that thinking music.
Right. Dun, 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 dun. But I will say though that this current incarnation of A Star is Born, actually, someone intrigues me.
We'll get to it. Oh yeah. Okay. It was Janet Gaynor and Frederick Marsh, which were famous.
Freddie March. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a David O. Selznick.
Oh, that's about as vintage as you can get.
Yeah. And directed by William Wellman.
So,
So Janet Gaynor is the Ingénue. Yeah. So this is the one that I have not seen. So I do not have a review of it.
Okay.
Next up. Help me out here.
Next up.
Here's what I need. Remakes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to check the date. 1954. 1954 comes, and Hollywood decides to do A Star is Born again. Well, 1954's Star is Born is a vehicle for the comeback, the big comeback of none other than kind of famous singer and actress.
Okay.
She's the Barbra Streisand of her time.
Okay.
Judy Garland.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
So Judy Garland in 1954 remakes A Star is Born. Same story. So about Hollywood, actresses and stuff. This time, though, because it's Judy Garland, add some music. Gotta add the music.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of almost kind of a musical, not quite a musical, but there's a lot of musical numbers in it.
Yeah.
One of the musical numbers, and I can't remember what it was, became a standard Judy Garland song after that period that she would sing as one of her hits on stage and stuff. So anyway, and that one got awards and did very, very, very well because it was Judy Garland. She had come back from having kids and all that stuff. She was like now an adult,
it was
full on. I can't remember how old she was, but maybe 30s or something, I want to say.
Yeah.
In her 30s or whatever. So, it was her comeback. Interesting story about that is the director, director, producer, whatever, can't remember. I think it was the director, really wanted Cary Grant to play the role.
Ooh, Cary Grant.
And guess what? Cary turned him down.
Judy.
Yeah, I'm a huge Cary Grant fan.
Yeah.
So he turned him down for personal reasons. He'd gotten married and was off being Cary Grant. It's like, hey, I'm Cary Grant.
I would love just to hear him. A star is born.
Yeah. So actually, one of the things is they said he was a little bit that he gave excuses, but they said he maybe looked at the role and said, this might not be right for me. I don't know that I want to play the drunken, in decline star, since my star is quite rising right now. Think about it, a few years later, he does North by Northwest with Hitchcock. I mean, he's at the top of his game. It's like Cary Grant is,
He's also what, Gentleman Before Blondes too, right?
Oh, he's, even into the 60s,
Oh, yeah.
So Cary Grant refuses, and apparently the director after that refused to ever work with him again because he refused him, which is fine.
Yeah.
So they get James Mason.
Oh.
James Mason plays the role. And so it's the same story, basically. Mm-hmm. James Mason is a top actor, but he's declining. Yeah. And basically by declining, we make alcoholism, getting drunk all the time, making a fool of himself in front of the Academy Awards.
Right.
Famous, interesting scene.
If you need that, look at the old movie, My Favorite Year.
Yes.
Alan Swan.
It's exactly like that. Exactly. Like Alan Swan. And so so that's the movie. It did very, very well. I did see it.
I've not seen it
I've been trying to do my homework. And so it was interesting. Okay. It's long. By the way, Star is Born. Really? I don't know about the first one, but it's long. It's like we're talking 3 hours. I mean, they had issues, and the original cut was like almost 4 or something, and then the studio came in and said, we got to cut. I know, it's like the Lord of the Rings. I'm Judy Garland, and Gandalf is over here.
Gandalf.
Yeah. A sing, Gandalf. I don't know how to do Judy Garland. I'm not the... I like the Judy Garland movies when she's, the Wizard of Oz. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I like the younger Judy Garland movies. Yeah. The older Judy Garland movies, I'm not sure what it is. And then you can watch some of her TV specials on YouTube in the 60s. They're rough to watch because Judy, as people well know, had her decline as well.
Yes.
But she's at the top of her game in this one.
Yeah. What's the other big one? I mean, really big one. Is like Meet Me in St. Louis or
I don't know.
See You in St. something like that.
But anyway, so I saw that movie. It's very long to get through. Yeah. That's one thing. It's like, wow, this movie takes some time.
The star is just not born. By the time the movie's done, the star's in middle age.
Well, it's like, we have to sit around and make sandwiches. I need to go over and sing a song now in the movie after we've eaten our sandwiches. Yeah. Literally, I think that's one of the scenes where it's like, she makes sandwiches and they're like, look, I'm a good wife. We can make sandwich. I made a good sandwich. Oh, your sandwiches. I'm James Mason, and this is the fine sandwich for a wife who's an ingenue. I think I'll sing about it. Let's sing about sandwiches. It's like that. And you're just like, it's like those old movies that are really long. Like today movies are way too short. Mm. Like, it's like, it's like, Master Skywalker, what about my third Jedi lesson? Forget about it.
Right.
We cut it out.
It's a part of the montage.
But anyway, yes. See, people know what I'm talking about. Uh-huh. But now it's like you watch this movie that's like, I want to say it's 3 hours long. It's really long, and you're really like. Yeah. Is there a potty break soon? I mean, luckily I watched it. I actually rented it on the digital because you can rent these on Amazon or YouTube or whatever.
You're like in the theater yelling at the projectionist, "Hey, come on! At least Lawrence of Arabia had an intermission."
The premiere was 182 minutes.
Oh.
That was the premiere. The release was 154. So the studio, even back in 1954, the studio saw the director's cut and went, So they cut a half hour out of it.
Yeah.
And then here's the problem. In 2004, 2005, 88, soundtrack release. Somewhere in the 90s, somewhere in the modern day, they went back to do a restoration for the DVD stuff and then the Blu-ray. Here's the problem. They re-added back the director's scenes. So the version I watched was the restored version at 176 minutes.
Oh, the director's cut.
I rented the director's cut. You can't. I don't think you can get the release. I think you can only digitally. You can only get the director's cut. Or like if you buy a disc, like a Blu-ray or a DVD, it's this restored version. And here's the thing about this. Okay, this is my review.
Okay.
Some of the scenes are lost in the restored version.
Really?
But the soundtrack isn't. So you know what they did? To make this movie even a longer experience for you.
They didn't recreate it, did they? Reshoot?
Not quite. Here's what they did. Like, I've never seen this in a movie before.
Okay.
So there's these scenes where the dialogue and the soundtrack is there. So they're talking, James Mason, and they're, oh, hey, honey, oh, hey. And they cut in stills, photographs from the scenes.
Yeah.
And so they do kind of like the, what's the guy, who does all those documentaries about the Civil War and all that?
Oh, Ken Burns.
Ken Burns. So they do the Ken Burns. So they're like, here's Judy Garland, and they zoom her still picture with James Mason talking, or at the thing or whatever, and you just hear them talking underneath. It's painful, folks. I don't know why there were some film people who liked this idea or whatever. It's a bad idea. Doesn't make the film very watchable in my mind. And it was like a scene where, like, one scene's like 5 minutes long, and it's just them saying goodbye to each other in the office. And, oh, I came over to the office. Oh, that's good. What is it? I don't know how necessary this scene was to make the movie work.
Yeah.
You cut it down to a theatrical release. And, I'm the guy who's saying this movie needs to get cut down. It's a problem. Because I think a lot of movies these days are edited way too short, that they're, we have too much of an attention span problem.
Sounds like Stars Born.
176 minutes.
Double feature proof,
176. Right? So that's 22 minutes restored like that.
Wow.
I mean, there were some that they had actual film footage, but where they had lost, they didn't even have the footage anymore. I'm like, oh man. So I was like, and of course it was, it was like, if you're on the DVD or something, which I wasn't. This was just a rental online. It was like, can I skip? Can I hit the fast forward? So I don't know.
Yeah. There's long, too long, way too long, and then there's what the heck are you doing long? So sounds like that.
So yeah, so that was that. So it was too long. If it were shorter, I think the general release I might have been better with.
Gotcha.
Judy Garland. If you like Judy Garland, you'll love this movie.
Yeah.
There's one scene that's real good and it's like almost like they're in the nightclub, and it's like because this always happens with musicians. Always after they've gigged all night, the first thing they want to do is jam with you for free.
Right.
Sure. They don't want to go home.
No.
They would just want to jam all night long.
Right.
Now, maybe little hint, if you're a working musician, pretty much when it's, 2 or 3 or whenever the gig's over and you've been playing all night, you just want to go have a drink, close up your axe, and go home and get some sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, it's that classic scene where she comes in and the band and the tables are up, no one's in there. And she's like, oh, yeah. Well, what about that song you're working on, Judy Garland, whatever your character's name is? I can't remember. Ingénue? She's like, oh, not that song. Come on, the bass player wants to play it.
Boom, 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 boom,
boom. Well, I don't know. So she sings this song, which I think might be one of the songs that got to be a hit.
So how long is this new version? I mean, if
long.
Really?
It's long. Yeah.
We'll get there. 3 hour
We're getting
long.
there.
Okay.
We're soon.
Okay.
So anyway, that's my final review. This thing was really long, kind of hard to get through. James Mason was a little over the top in it. I mean, obviously, like you said, what was the character's name from My Favorite Year?
Alan Swan.
Alan Swan.
Yes. Very dramatic.
So I loved My Favorite Year is a great movie.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
If you haven't seen it, go see My Favorite Year. It's Peter O'Toole.
Yep.
Plays Alan Swan.
Yep.
Peter O'Toole can play outrageous so well, especially later in years. Go see The Stuntman.
Yeah.
Check out The Stuntman. Another great older Peter O'Toole movie.
Yeah.
And he can play drunk like as if it's second nature to him.
No, him and like Dudley Moore, you know.
That bell's too far. I got too much joke here.
Again, is he at that point? Is he Alan Swan or is he just Peter O'Toole?
Good point though about Dudley Moore too. It's like, wow, you are uncanny as a drunken ne'er-do-well, aren't you?
Talk about method.
Yes, I am. I'm Dudley Moore.
It's no longer method acting. It's like.
Yeah, Peter O'Toole's that way too. He's very convincing.
Oh yeah.
And so as Alan Swan, he's real good. So James Mason has that kind of a role. So James Mason is that kind of a character, that over the top. You know, he shows up at the studio, he's all drunk. They're like, you've got to get it together, James Mason, or we're going to have to buy you out of your contract. Well, that will be fine because I'm drunken James Mason and I've just married Judy Garland, who's an ingenue and singing songs. You know, it's like
I am a star.
Yeah.
You know.
And there's a famous scene that gets recreated at the Academy Awards. So there's an awards scene.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's in the first movie because, again, I can't speak to it. I haven't seen it, but I believe it is because I think it's still the same story. So a big climax is our guy in decline. She's accepting the industry award. It may be the Academy Awards.
Could be a Grammy.
In The A Star Is Born with Chris Christopherson, it is what? Because that is about rocket. That is not about Hollywood.
Yeah.
The thing that they changed for them is they're rock and rollers. He's a rock and roller. She's an up-and-coming singer.
Yeah.
She's getting the Grammy. She's at the Grammy. Our guy walks in. He's been drinking all night. He's out of his mind.
Yeah.
And so he disrupts in front of the whole industry and the television cameras and everywhere else.
So he pulls a Kanye West then.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
But you know, does all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, James Mason has that scene in the Academy Awards. And of course, she's trying to help him. She should be mad, but she's like trying to help him.
Yeah.
And of course, the scene after is always the head of the studio or the manager of the band, you know, depending on if it's Hollywood or whatever, sitting down with her and going, you know, he's a liability. You gotta.
He's gone too far.
He's my husband. He got me here.
But I love him.
But I love him.
Oh.
And it's like, yeah, he's a liability. Let him go.
Yeah.
So James Mason does all that, you know. So they did that. So we had that in that. Now we have Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Of which I was invited to the premiere last week.
Hey.
Because I have been trying to do my homework. I get a B- because I missed the first one. But I'm like, okay, I've done my homework. I'm watching this. Because I think this Star Is Born is like a Hollywood phenomenon.
Yes.
You know? It's kind of like there's certain Hollywood phenomenons. You have them in Westerns and that sort of thing. This is a phenomenon. In 2100, there's going to be Star Is Born 2100, I believe.
Yeah.
It'll be about robots and AI or something. I don't know.
The two movies will be A Star Is Born and The Jazz Singer.
Yeah. So I got to see it, and had we planned it, it would have been great. We did talk about the movie afterwards, and then we had to all go home. But Dawn Taylor, who's the film critic,
yes,
she goes, I know you're like into this and you want to see it, and so I was like, heck yeah, you know. It's not robots and CGI and Marvel movies. Yes, I'll watch anything at this point.
What do you mean they're real actors?
So it is the story of A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
Here's what it does. It takes from the Barbra Streisand, and it takes from the Judy Garland. The scene the awards scene is there's actually moments like having this fresh in my head. I could watch the movie and go, oh wow, that's almost exact read of the Judy Garland version or the Barbara Streisand version. So,
gotcha.
What do I think about the movie? I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Okay.
We wanted to see how long it was because it's getting criticism for being long, which 2018. Here we go. Let's see how long it is. 135 minutes.
Okay.
But see, that's still relatively
2 hours and
2:15, which is a long movie in 2018.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that I think but I think Dawn had mentioned that. She said it was a little long. And I was like, you haven't seen the Judy Garland version, have you? It's like, holy. And also the Barbara Streisand one, again, is really long, too. At least 2.5 hours or more. So to me, this new one wasn't all that long comparatively. Yeah. It's like shorter of them, but still, yeah.
Cool. Excellent.
So there's a lot that takes from the two movies that I saw. Pretty well done. This guy Bradley Cooper, who I know people saw the American Sniper or whatever. Yeah. He was like big on that.
The Hangover. That's where.
See, I you know what? This is the first. I haven't seen those, and I'm not familiar with his work.
Yeah.
So I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So he produced, directed it, stars in it.
Okay.
I think he does that kind of Chris Christopherson rocker role well. I would still give it to Chris. Very authentic, because you just when you watch it, you're just like,
Well, he originated it.
It's almost documentary watching, Yeah. But still, if you didn't compare it, he does a very, very good job of playing that kind of rocker and all that.
That's the scuttlebutt that's come out that Cooper is really because everyone always said before the movie like, oh my gosh, they're doing the movie, and other people in interviews I've seen they're like, no, he can do this. He's that good of an actor. He sings. Just watch. Yeah,
he sings and can.
Yeah, because most people like me saw him in like a comedic version of like Hangover.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know, can this dude pull it off? Yeah. And they're like, no, he does have the chops. Just wait. And then I've noticed that at the weekend for the premiere of it, people think, he pretty much, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. I think it's. Well, I'll go to my criticism in a minute. So I think it's pretty good. Lady Gaga's in it.
Yes.
And
this is her debut, right?
In a film. Yeah. In a film, of course. Yes. So it really is her big debut in a film.
Yeah.
This is it. Okay. And she knocked it out of the park.
Wow. Yeah. Good.
So I mean, I came kind of late to the Lady Gaga thing. I mean, she already had the hits, and it was like, oh, who's? And then I heard it, and it was like, oh, yeah, I can see. And then the kids were like, oh, with her poker face and all the hits. But everything that I've seen her do since I've followed her and her stuff, I'm always amazed by her talent.
Yeah,
I think she is the 21st century. I think she is like almost can be the 21st century Barbara Streisand or Judy Garland.
I can see that.
That was my one comment. I was like, I think she's just that madly talented.
Yeah. The old school throwback singer, the actor, singer, singing dancer.
She can sing all that stuff. I mean, the film starts out, there's a bar, so there's this bar scene, typically, at least it's in the, it's in all three. Yeah. So how they meet is the guy stumbles into a bar. Yeah. And of course there she is up there singing.
He's wowed by her.
Yes, and things begin to unfold after that. Yeah. And so the bar scene that he stumbles into, which was actually really ingenious the way they did this. I really obviously it's 2018. And she's singing in a drag bar. Mm.
Okay.
And it was very entertaining. It's a great scene. Actually, I would say out of all the scenes in the scene, because I thought, how are they going to do this? Because in the original Star is Born, or not the original, in the Chris Christopherson one, he stumbles in, he's like, this is really good. And then some fans get things, and there's a fight that ensues.
Okay.
And it basically messes up Barbra Streisand's performance.
Yeah.
Not a good start to meet somebody.
No.
Okay. So I was like, how are they going to do that? Is he going to stumble in? It's like, and then he goes into, it's like, right. Well, they totally shift that, and they don't go that way. They go a different way with it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really good update. But she sings La Vie en Rose.
Okay.
And she can do it.
Oh yeah.
And it's a very entertaining.
Now, somebody who knows more about her than I do, but I believe that she, unbeknownst to the regular, is I think she's almost. I think one of the schools that she went to is like it was like a type of a Juilliard type serious. This is the people get the serious chop. New York School of something.
Yeah, whatever it is, I can't tell you off the.
Yeah,
I'll tell you if you read the Wikipedia of her.
Yeah.
And Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
Very similar upbringing. They both went to these arts schools and learned to sing. And actually, I think both of them learned acting and then singing, which is really weird because if you think of both, that was the weird thing. It was like
they're known for.
Well, they're really known for their singing. Like Barbra Streisand, yes, has been in a lot of movies, acted, but really, when you think of Barbra Streisand, what do you for as a singer? Like that's when she first in
Broadway,
Lady Gaga,
the serious chops. Yeah,
yeah. But both can act and both have professional acting experience, like what you're saying with the prestigious New York school. So and it shows. Yeah, and I think in both cases. It's, A Star Is Born has that mythology of, wow, you're great. You should be a star. Yeah. I love using that phrase,
Yeah. Like John Lovitz, you should,
Yeah.
You should be a star.
That's not like, if you look at Lady Gaga, if you look at Barbra Streisand, any of them, hard work, relentless hard work. You don't do that without focus, focus, and you don't just walk out and go, I can sing, I should be a star. Hey, we've discovered you. Which is funny because that's kind of the Star is Born mythology, a hilarious little.
To me, there's always a catchphrase that always never fails to click with me when I hear it, which means, they're just not some up in a bar or they're singing, whatever, is always the word when someone describes their work and they use the word craft.
Yeah.
When I hear that, I'm like, okay, this guy takes, learning their craft or this, that. Okay, these guys are serious people because they're using almost the nomenclature of how you would see a classically trained. And when I heard that about her, I was like, oh, okay, well, they have her. I'm sure the record label has her packaged as, the outlandish sort of Lady Gaga. Right. But when I heard, she came up through this New York school of, art or music or whatever. I remember right then, she may be packaged that way, but she's versatile,
Yeah.
She's got more going for her, and it turns out, heck yeah.
Yeah, so, I think she was really good in it, acting and singing. There is in the preview, like if you watch the trailer, the first song, they show the first song where she comes out on stage to sing, and it is kind of humorous because she sings a few lines, then she has that thing that's that Lady Gaga thing, kind of that, that thing, and people have been kind of laughing about that. And when you actually see it in the theater, you kind of go, yeah, well, that is, her signature kind of a thing, but that's cool. Yeah. The last song at the end was really, I pretty much I said, well, if I go and if I start to cry, will I get support?
Yeah.
So, and I was fine. I could get through it. I found it actually, it was pretty entertaining, funny, some stuff. But at the end, the last song was like, wow, okay, that was kind of, dramatic and really, and she sings it off there. So yeah, I thought it was good. I think it's a nice alternative to your next Marvel movie and whatnot, which I think is Venom now, right?
Yeah.
Tom Hardy, I might go see that one because I think Tom Hardy's pretty brilliant actor. But even though I'm so, those movies are driving me crazy. But But I think it's a nice alternative. It probably is a good date night movie. So if you like the one that did the thing and with the couples, the things, it's
if you want to make some good brownie points with your date.
No, I don't know. I'm just thinking, I can see the high schoolers and stuff going, hey, you want to go out? Hey, you want to go see a movie? Hey, you want to see A Star Is Born? Of course, nowadays, they're all geeks, so they probably want to go, hey, let's go see Venom. It's like, okay, well, never mind. Don't listen to old dad here,
There's those who are in the drama club, like, oh, A Star Is Born. We'll go see that.
I don't know what the thing is there. People in it, Dave Chappelle is in it.
Yeah.
That was... I mean, nothing against Dave Chappelle or anything. It was just kind of like, character and a side note on some stuff to fill in some backstory.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave Chappelle. I mean, it was scenes and stuff. He plays like his best friend or whatever.
Gotcha.
And then there, so that whole thing is like hanging out with him and his family.
Yeah.
And backstory.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What do you think, Dave? Think I should go to AA? That sort of kind of like scene backstory.
Right.
So she was good. I enjoyed it. Oh, Andrew Dice Clay plays her father.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. How did he do with that?
Good. Very good. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it now after seeing it last week, like the character, because he's the guy. He's a limo driver, so he's always wearing the jacket, and he's like, well, they said I used to sing like Sinatra. I was so he's all like about the New York, the Frank Sinatra, and
from the streets. He's a Brooklyn kid.
Typical guy.
Yeah.
And he's like a limo driver, and for some reason she lives with her dad, and for some reason, all the guys who drive limos, they're all wearing their coats and they're always having breakfast at the house. So she's always like at the house with all these like 4 or 5 old men who are all like, you know what you should do? You should sing like Barbara Streisand. Yeah, that's what you should do. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that weird thing, kind of a trope,
Yeah.
But it was...
It works.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Dice Clay is her...
Wow.
It's her father. And Sam Elliott.
Oh, Sam Elliott. Yeah.
And Sam Elliott is in it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Portland, Oregon, Marshall High School alum, Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
And
how can you not like Sam Elliott? It's virtually impossible.
He kind of is Sam Elliott in this.
Is he?
Yeah. A man of few words. The typical Sam Elliott. Of course, always when I hear Sam Elliott's voice, I always then want to go watch The Big Lebowski.
Of course.
Because
of course
he's the narrator of The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
I love his narrative voice. Right?
Yeah, he's got a very singular, not only vocal pattern. Yeah, but he's just got that
wanted
look.
to go find his carpet.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
No one messed with the dude.
Yeah, that may be on my to-do list again soon.
Yeah. Well, you got one to do before that.
Oh, Miller's Crossing. Yeah, I couldn't find.
You must do it.
Yeah, I'm searching tonight. I'm going to be.
You could probably get it on the Amazon or I bet you.
Amazon.
Okay, so I rented the thing. First rental I did on YouTube.
Okay.
Because you can rent.
Yes. How did that work out?
Fine.
Huh.
Fine. You just go up there. It's like $2.90. It's they're all like $2.99 rental for 48 hours or whatever.
Well, I have Prime, so we can.
Oh, if you have Prime, you can get it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
I don't have the Prime. Well, actually, apparently I have the Prime now, and I need to cancel it. Thank you, Amazon. But anyway,
Thank you, Amazon.
But yeah, I did the YouTube rental because
Gotcha.
you have a YouTube thing, and you just put in your PayPal and do it.
Yeah.
So in fact, I rented. Here's another movie. We don't have time for a review, but a movie that I had wanted to see in the theater that came and went, indie movie, was Don Cheadle.
Oh.
Who produced, directed, and starred in the movie about Miles Davis.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I watched that, co-starring Ewan McGregor.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually was like,
Miles?
Well, I do these, and sure enough, it was there.
Wow.
I enjoyed it.
Excellent.
But I also have read Miles. I'm a big Miles Davis fan.
Yeah.
I have records. Stuff. Saw him once live. Was lucky enough to see him once live come to Portland.
Kind of blue.
Yeah. And I know I read his autobiography.
Yeah.
So I know the stories behind like this movie and all that. So that was one. I don't want to get into that. We gotta go.
Right.
But so Star is Born.
Okay.
Is any Star is Born the greatest film you've ever seen in your life? I would say no, but I would also say it's not. I would. This new one might be on the whole the best one.
Okay.
I mean, and that's hard to say. They're all very different because of the errors that it's the same story. It's like now we've updated it. So it's like, to me, it's almost apples and oranges with the exception of they're all fruit,
Sure.
Okay. But yeah, it was pretty good. Again, if I had to choose one of the leads out of the three I have seen, I would still say Chris Christopherson holds the key with a close second, Bradley Cooper. Only because Chris Christopherson really was rock and roller, a musician, and it just felt natural, like he was just walking in, like you said.
I can see that, because Chris Christopherson has that dual identity. That seems almost like just his natural wheelhouse.
And I think a lot of people will not have seen that.
Yeah.
So they will give a lot of credit to Bradley Cooper, and he well deserved. So I'm just, I'm comparing performances and all that.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think Lady Gaga is my favorite performance.
Gotcha.
Out of all three, her acting she's good, and this is like her first one. So this is one of those movies where it's like, go see it and then go, what is the next movie she's gonna make?
Right. Yeah.
Because I'll watch her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the one famously where she is not wearing makeup or a meat suit or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And and so
Excellent.
So that's my review of A Star is Born.
All right.
2018 in theaters tonight. Yes, go see it. Especially in between when you're getting ready to watch Venom or Avengers Episode 16 or whatever.
But Venom's sold out. Let's go watch A Star is Born.
Yeah. So there's a lot of other. We have made this a completely news-free show. Congratulations, Jason.
You're welcome, everybody. We all need that little escape.
We were prepared. We had preparation. We could put it in, but you know what?
We had a whole ensemble medley of We Are the Senate.
Yeah.
And so we decided, no, we're going to.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I think it's nice to just like going to see The Star is Born. Like, you've seen all those Marvel movies, right?
Yes.
Well, then you could go see A Star is Born. There may be CGI in it, but it's like the kind of CGI like, we CGI'd crowd in here and stuff. It doesn't, it's not a robot with laser eyes or whatever.
Right.
But although that would be interesting. If all of a sudden, anyway. Yeah. It's suddenly Gaga becomes like Captain Marvel or something. Ooh. It's like secretly I'm actually Captain Marvel. Anyway, but yeah, just like that, our show kind of like did. So, but we know what's going on. Let's hope. I'm hopeful, but I don't know. I'm not
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it.
Right.
Next month is the vote. No, November. So go vote.
Yeah, go please.
Go vote.
Please, folks, vote.
Vote.
Please. Yes. If you're in a purple state or in a red state and you're blue, go vote.
Vote.
Please.
So, all right. Big sports this weekend? Yeah.
Normal sports.
Football season, right?
Football season. The only thing of note this weekend is actually tomorrow. It's my birthday.
Oh, jeez. Happy birthday.
Yeah. I have agreed to be 27 tomorrow for one day. No,
happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. All right. And is that the World Series? No.
No, it's now the wild card games. Of course, we have Ducks have the week off this week. They don't play Saturday.
It's football season. And it's soccer season.
And it's now baseball playoff season going into the.
And then it's basketball season and basketball season.
Preseason basketball. Yeah. Preseason hockey too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the winter sports balls.
That's right.
All right. Well, say goodbye, Detective.
Oh, I've been waiting
Alan.
to do this. You know, the little shaft.
Do you have a sign off?
If I see you again, punk, I won't be seeing you again.